is adventure.
His fast gun for hire heeds the calling wind.
This is High Noon and welcome! Are you prepared to draw? I hope so! And I don't mean any of that liver-lizzied, gun-slinging stuff. And I don't mean any of that arty stuff. I'm here to do that. Yous all will just draw together, become family, friends, help each other, support each other, all that stuff. This is a place to have a good old time, friends and frolic, and all that stuff. Okay? This is it.
Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? I hope we are good. Let me open up the chat here. We got a couple more places to share this out to still. Post. Here we go. Let's see. Got X. Go. Okay, give me a sec. I just need to do one other thing. Yeah, oh, yeah. There we go. Give me a sec. Can you turn that down a couple notches, please? Hello. Hey, Sketch. Not much. Just getting ready to color more of page 4 of Snowdrift #1. And yourself? Okay, so I think we have the wheels on this from last time. This page. So let's grab that color. Just waking up, laugh out loud. Yeah, I woke up a little late today myself. Okay, so let's. At any point, if you want to hop on, I'm in the on air on Discord, but you don't have to, of course. The thing is, too, especially any show that I'm on, usually any show that I have, I'm gonna be going in the on air, so anybody can come on Heck, you could probably get in the on air before I'm in it because I don't usually get on until I'm live on air because I like to go through the stuff of opening up or whatever first. Okay, so and you know what we need? We're going to take this level 66, right down there. The question is, what color do I want the ground in here? Because I don't. I'm not sure whether I want it cement. Would have they poured down cement slab? I doubt it's going to be ground. I think they would have put something in here, especially it's supposed to be temporary. Well, I'm thinking it has to be somewhat wood. Maybe even a dark wood. But that looks a lot like ground too, doesn't it? Well, at least I got a color there for now I can easily replace. Let's grab color of this beam from page 3. Go to 69. Put that there. And that there. Okay. So we need to still do the wheels here. I'm not sure what color I want to make them. I guess they would be grayish as well. Or even black. Let's get that. You know what? We're gonna just trying to think. Should we just? No, I want them to be a different color. Okay, we'll make them a slightly lighter gray. There we go. So, besides waking up for you, what else is up? Sketch. Okay, so we need to come back with color for this. We got some good stuff going on here. So now we need to do this guy with a box. Okay, so the first thing we do know is... Hey, Marsupial! Good to have you here. This guy's pants are gonna be black. Everybody's pants are black in this because um, I did a little bit of research trying to find out um, like snowsuits and stuff like that, and they always have the pants for this era being black. Today nowadays we'd have a little bit more of a selection probably, but they didn't back then. Okay, so let's get this for the collar and cuffs. Sorry, I was sharing the stream on Twitter. Oh, well, that's good. That's always good. Can't fault you there, Sketch. And how are you today, Marsupial? Um, I left shortly after my last statement. So how'd the rest of Metroid go? Hey, Joshua. Good afternoon. Okay, so we need this box. Yes, you know what? We're doing the mix over top of the box, so. And the code over top of the box. I'm fine. I'm near the end, but I need to go back and find more power-ups. Ah, yeah, that looks a little better. Make the tape there a little bit. How is it? Well, I asked Marsupial how he was. Hello.
What's up, Rick?
Not much. Yourself?
Not much. Just waking up, and I was like, "Oh, Rick's gonna be on right now." So, served myself a glass of water and took my morning pills and got ready for the stream.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Got one reply on Twitter like, "Huh? What is this?" Like, man, I'm just sharing a friend's stream out. Come and watch it if you enjoy just having people draw and you know
Well,
hang out.
yeah, hang out, and I'm probably more coloring than drawing, but
I do have a subject for today's high noon, if you don't mind.
yeah, go ahead.
So I was scrounging through Twitter yesterday, and I saw Hero Geek. I don't know if you know who that is. I don't know if you follow him.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
I think his name's Ron Christian. He
uh,
posted something on here about the Batwoman TV show coming
okay.
back, right? And people like Az covering the Batwoman TV show. And he brought up a good point that a lot of people like to say in whispers, but don't speak out loud about because a lot of that community tends to be like, this is unsolicited channel advice. And if I'm being successful as I am, why do I have to change?
Yeah.
Basically, what he's asking what should not be asked in their community, according to them, and that is, are they part of the problem? Channels like Nerdrotic, Clownfish TV, and he brought them all up in his post.
Yeah.
And as who cover shows like Batwoman, who bring more attention to the show than the show originally would have had, but they don't seem to recommend anything to replace it, like older stuff or independent stuff.
Yeah.
So, see, like I hang out on a channel called Place to Be Reviews.
Yeah.
He's a pretty cool guy, but he does also cover things like Batwoman and stuff like that. But he reviews old stuff, and he also promotes like Vinny Tartamella's comics, independent comics, and he promotes this other channel called the Red Gaze, who has independent comics. So he promotes independent product, but the others, they really don't, and that is something that nobody really talks about. Are they part of the problem?
Yeah. Well, some of these channels that go against it, I would say do too. Like, well, yes and no. It's hard to say. Well, they give good reviews and bad reviews or whatever, depending on what it is. I guess it depends on the channel you're talking about. You know,
Well,
but
basically, they only cover it to make fun of it.
yeah,
In other words, it's just roasting, roasting, roasting.
yeah, and that unfortunately, that's an easy thing to do too. It's easy to poo-poo on anything.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
it's usually picking at low hanging fruit, which I understand that, and I understand the comedic part of it. I'm not saying it's not entertaining, because
no,
I myself subscribe to Az and find some of his like season
yeah,
one and season two reviews really funny. Same thing with Place to Be Reviews.
yeah,
But during his streams, we do talk about stuff that's out there that you could be like, hey, go check this out. Like, if you like pirate stories, go look at Vinny Art's um, comic book. I
yeah,
can't remember what it's called, but I mean, the dude's a talented artist. I actually would like to have him on a stream just to pick at his brain about old war stories, because he's always
yeah,
telling us about. Because he used to work for McFarlane Toys, and he knows a lot of people in the industry, and he has all this like kind of dirt. I know it's being gossipy, but it's always like cool to see behind the scenes of an industry that you grew up liking.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, sometimes you need to know behind the scenes. Just so you know what to expect.
Oh yeah,
Especially if you're getting into it, you don't want to go into something like that and not know what to expect.
I think people would have avoided a lot of Comicsgate people. I know, like people in Comicsgate would have avoided other Comicsgate people if they knew ahead of time how they actually were.
Yeah. Hey, Timothy. Timothy says, more progress on Snowdrift Blood Assassin number one. No, just Snowdrift number one. Jeez, I wonder what everything's going to be for the Flame when they get to him. When he's going to
Snowdrift
be
is
a.
like one of your more popular characters.
Well, the thing is, I've put my main seven characters out there. And, of course, everything was about the Canadian Shield as he was about to come out. And now Canadian Shield is out, and they know Snowdrift is the next one up. And or there's going to be a bunch of focus on her, and there has been. There's a little still focus on the Canadian Shield. So there's all that. Now it's going to be, after I get this next campaign, it's going to be what are they going to do for the Flame, which is the next one up to have a whatchamacallit, a comic. Because I've sort of stayed at where I am from this stuff since the beginning. I've always been about my you know main characters, because I knew I was promoting. I've always known that I'm going for more than one character. I'm going for a universe. You know, other people sort of talk about all these other projects, like Ethan. Like, okay, yeah, he's got Cyberfrog. I guess he did actually bring out what's the name of it. Uh, uh, the guy with the sword, Rainbow Brute.
Yeah. Well,
But
Ethan's a
he's all
special
got all
case.
these other projects. I'm a
Ethan's a
small.
special case.
Yeah.
He
Well.
he knows where he made his money on. Like it's easy to figure out. Like that's why I don't generally back or even promote his stuff because it's kind of leave you hanging. In other words, he takes forever to do it because he works at his own pace, and two, he's constantly promoting others and constantly working on their promotions and on his channel. He makes a lot of money in just super chats and things of that nature that he doesn't bother doing the comic full time. Like I know he says he does and he wants to create a great product and everything, but yeah, I know sales pitch when I see one. He does want to deliver that, but he's gonna do everything at his own pace. You're not gonna force him to be the comic book producer he used to be when he worked for DC professionally.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Well.
do everything at his own pace because he's making too much money. I guarantee you that if the YouTube money started to dry out, I would even say close to 25%, he'd start ramping up production of his books and sales pitching.
No. What was it? Well, I was just using him as an example, but then again, that's only one other project. He has like I don't know how many other projects. He wanted to do the like the Power Ranger type thing or whatever. The all the robots form into one thing. With a team or whatever. But American manga, I think he called it. The big robot and all that. He talked about that. He's talked about all these other things. Yeah, not much has come of him.
Right?
Tattoos. He's finally changed the name. Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, Mallet. But Mike's, said about different projects, like, but they're not really bringing them out. Um,
Yeah, Mike, Mike knows Mike wants to make money. That whole spiel where, oh yeah, I'm not about the money. I want to create this universe. Yeah, I don't. I didn't buy that then, and I know for sure that it ain't true now. Like as soon as he discovered NFTs, that's what he's working on, and he always comes up with, "I want to give them a great product," and like both of them are salespeople, and it's very like see through
uh,
on one of them as opposed to the other.
isn't
Yeah,
that
I doubt Mike will go back to producing comics anytime soon.
what are
And again, I'm not
NFTs?
non-fundable tokens. They have to do. He's very into crypto,
Yeah.
which
Oh
is why I say
yeah.
he's very into money because crypto that's all it revolves around. It's like playing the stock market. So again, I'm not against what he's doing, but I'm the kind of person that lives by the rule. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. I know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. Isn't what you said, Timothy? Well, I think he'll continue to do comics, but
Not
uh,
anytime soon.
it's just he's not completely 100% focused on them
Well,
and on his channel, anyways. And
think
maybe
about it.
that's good or bad. I don't know. I'm not sure.
If
Am
you
I 100% focused on?
if you make
Co-
100K or over 100K on NFTs, and you're only making less than half of that on comics, it's a no-brainer that he's not going to pay attention to comics.
yeah.
And
Oh,
art is his strong suit. Yeah, comics is not his strong suit. Art is his strong suit. You got to go where your strong suit is. Mike's not a very good writer. Uh, I know they're fans of his in the comic book world, and this may hurt them. But professionally speaking, he's not. I would say he's less like he's the bottom mid tier comic book artist. He's more viable for his speed than he is for his design because he uses basic design, basic anatomy. So like I'm not saying he's a bad artist, he's not, but like if I had a publishing house, I would hire Mike based on his speed and not really based on his design. I wouldn't put him on big books either. I'd put him more like on detective novels and or detective comics and uh, true to life comics and things like that because I wouldn't put him on superhero comics because he doesn't have that panache, that je ne sais quoi of that other comics artists have, like Madureira or Jim Lee. I know he doesn't like Jim Lee very much, or even someone like Todd McFarlane or Greg Capullo.
yeah.
People who are very stylized, and that's what sells in comics is stylization, if that's even a word. But
People
I
get your
digress.
point.
I beat up on Mike enough. I don't need him to be doing that all the time.
Oh, well, actually, sort of speaking of Mike in a roundabout way, have you seen the Injustice movie yet? The
No,
cartoon?
no, I don't like the injustice storyline. I like Watchmen for the reason that they told. Um, who was it, Miller or anyway? They told the writer they couldn't use the original characters to do the Watchmen, so he had to create his own characters.
Yeah.
Because if you can tell, all the Watchmen are pretty much archetypes of
A lot of
yeah,
the
DC characters.
Justice, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of when like I'm not even a fan of like what is that something on two worlds where they have the
Crisis,
evil version. Crisis on Two Earths. There you go.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, that.
those characters actually have been around quite some time. The
Yeah,
Third Earth, if they're, is what
I
it's really
understand.
called.
I'm not a fan when they use actual Superman and miswrite him like that. Like everybody says that, like because of that game and because of that story, they're like, oh yeah, he would lose it if Lois Lane. He would not lose it. Superman's upbringing holds is better foundationally than even Batman's.
Yeah.
Batman's more wishy washy than
Uh,
Superman is.
Now, the only reason I ask because the actual movie is it's got a lot of the same premise. Obviously, the whole Joker makes him kill thing and loses it, but they don't do the whole 5 years later and then bring in the Justice League from another planet or another universe.
Yeah.
It's only like Superman comes from another. Well, two characters more than Superman.
Well, yeah, I played the video game,
Yeah, yeah, but
but
like I said, it may be. This is, I'd say, loosely based on it because in the video game, as you know, what happens? The Joker makes you get Superman to kill Lois and their new child, and then he goes all tyrannical. Well, that part happens, but then it's like in the video game, it's supposed to be about 5 years later, and then you know they find the Justice League on another world, and the Justice League from another world comes in. It's almost like the Justice Lords thing from um, the Justice League Unlimited and all that
Hmm.
sort of thing,
Yeah.
where they
Okay.
come in and straighten the evil Justice League out.
Cool. I'm up to 113 followers. I didn't even notice that.
Marsupio says, "Isn't Third Earth where the Thundercats live?" Yeah, yeah, that's Third Earth. I said Earth 3. There could be a difference. Timothy says the color of those boxes could use some work. I'm sure I will do more to them. I got a basic color in there for them. Obviously, I think I'll work with them when I get. You definitely said third Earth. If I did, it was a mistake. I meant to say Earth 3.
Yeah. Oh, I understood it as Earth 3. That's why.
Yeah, he's just trying to tease me, which, would be normal. Nothing I probably wouldn't do to him.
I wonder if he just like nuked all his accounts. He's not on YouTube. He's not on Twitter.
Who?
Some guy I had wanted to share the stream with. His name is Will. His channel was called Will at the Heroic Studios.
Yes, mother. Yeah, it's noon on Friday. Or a little bit afternoon. It's 12:30 where I am. Oh, and oh yeah, sketch. We might be starting a little bit earlier on tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not sure
Why?
exactly what time yet. But here, I might be able to find out.
Oh, Marsupio, how does it feel to have power again? Did you see what happened on Twitter, Rick?
No, I don't think so.
He had a little issue with the legitimacy of him living in the apartment. So they cut his power and they locked his box outside.
Who's this?
Marsupio. Again, I was playing on Twitter yesterday. How we got on mic, I don't know. But going back to the original thing,
Yeah.
do you think that channels like that all they do is roast, but they tend to draw more people to that, um, what's it called, to that property? Do you think that they're a problem
I
or
could definitely
part of the problem?
I could definitely see how it could easily be the case where they could be part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. I remember saying this. It's funny that we mentioned Mike earlier. I remember saying this specifically to Mike in a chat when he was going to go see Captain Marvel, and I'm like, "Why are you going to go?" Well, I want to see how bad it is, but you already know that the character's bad. You know the comic is bad. Why would you go see the movie? Why are you provocating a ticket sale for this movie? I don't understand it. You don't need to pay for a ticket to watch the movie to roast it.
Well, I'd say to roast it right, you might. It's like, for me, um, back when the Da Vinci Code came out, right?
Mhm.
Um, that book, and we know how bad it was historically and all that. If you went and tried to talk about it, and then you said you never seen it or read it, right?
Mhm.
Your criticisms ends up falling on deaf ears because what right do you have to talk about it negatively or positively for a review if you actually haven't read it?
Yes, that is completely and utterly understandable. But Mike, being part of the industry, having
Yeah,
seen and read the original Captain Marvel and the original Miss Marvel books, and having looked at the newer ones and seen enough to be able to make a educated roast on it, there's no reason to give it a ticket sale.
yeah,
That's the point I was making to him. There's
yeah,
no reason for this. And I remember his response is somebody paid for his ticket. In other words, somebody gave him money in a super chat to pay for his ticket, which is understandable. But I would have literally led with no, don't. If you're gonna super chat me, don't super chat me with telling me that I have to go watch this movie because I'm not gonna go watch this movie. I don't want to give it any more press than it deserves. We
yeah,
all know it's gonna be a stinker. We know from the actress to the storyline to the direction that they're taking that it's gonna be a stinker. The last movie I went to go see that I went to personally check out was Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
yeah. I went and seen that too.
Not
I
because I knew that it was gonna be bad or good or anything like that. I was of the mind that Shang-Chi is one of those characters that would have translated great into film if done right. In other words, to me, is like it's not that this show is or this movie is bad. It's that this movie could have been great.
yeah,
And I forgot who I sat and talked to. I think it was on Place to Be Reviews that I had mentioned in the chat, and I sat and talked to my friend who went with me to go see it, and I told him, think about it. If they had gotten somebody like Stephen Cho to do this, the guy who did Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Soccer, and Journey to the West, that guy would have gotten kung fu legends from across, you know, fighting legends from across the globe to create Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
yeah,
But they were so high on their own supply, they went and I'm not saying I'm not knocking on Simu Liu being in it, but Simu Liu comes from what? A Korean comedy on, a Canadian based Korean comedy on Netflix, which don't get me wrong, isn't half bad. The fifth season is trash, but still, it's like that's not the kind of guy I would have chosen for the Shang-Chi character. And the Shang-Chi character is literally created based off of Bruce Lee.
yeah.
Which there are
I'll admit I haven't. I did go see the movie. I haven't read a lot. I don't think I actually read any Shang Li comic books, so I can't judge it based on the comic books myself. So
well, no. I looked it up and I saw a lot of channels talking about it where they were
yeah.
like, yeah, he was literally created in the '70s based off of the popularity of Bruce Lee.
Oh, that I can 100% believe.
Well, which to me, I'm like, if he's a Bruce Lee archetype, like to me, Stephen Cho would have been the perfect director for this.
Yeah,
And they all you had to do is request him not to be the star of it, and to find a star that resembles, you know, Bruce Lee
Yeah.
that he could work with, and then go forward with the character. There, to me, it just should have been like a great kung fu movie, or
Yeah.
fighting action movie, and they say it is. But when I went to go see it, well, you've seen it. I'm like, you have one great fighting scene at the beginning, and then you don't get another fighting scene until like the third act. Or sorry, two great fighting scenes. You do get one in the second act, but the first one's pretty good. The second one's pretty good, a little bit better. But the third one is like it goes to CGI Marvel bullcrap, and it's like, yeah, no, this should have been one of the movies that didn't have a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest problem was they did do, and again, this is without knowing too much about the character in the books and all that, is they put sort of the Mandarin stuff in there, which
Yes, they
I,
didn't
do- I,
want
do-
to
I
use
which I
the
don't think.
original. Yeah, the original bad guy was called Fu Manchu, and they didn't want to use him because it was too racist. And I'm like, I don't know about racist, more stereotype, but
Yeah, well, stereotype is racist nowadays to everybody. So,
yeah,
but
I hate that. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you know what racist means.
but yeah, well, I'm sure he had more than that one bad guy in his comic books, and so, but I do know the Mandarin is more of a call it villain.
You could have, yeah, he's an Iron Man villain. You could
Yeah,
have just literally um, changed the name of Fu Manchu. And even so, even with the Mandarin, you could have used the Mandarin because he is a Chinese villain.
yeah,
You could have still used the Mandarin.
yeah. Yeah, but I think the power level, is beyond what the character is would be going against. Yes, Spidey has ones that are technically out of his league, and Batman, you know, but I don't think it was probably a good choice to have the Mandarin as his bad guy. Maybe okay, don't use Fu Manchu. Use one of his other villains that isn't so stereotypical Chinese or whatever.
Yeah, I'm probably thinking that doesn't exist, which is why they wanted to go with the Mandarin. Plus, the Mandarin makes it look like
The
it was more to placate to China because the Mandarin makes Chinese people look powerful. Not to mention they made the Mandarin like relatable, and in fact, it comes off more as a Mandarin movie than it does a Shang-Chi movie.
yeah. Although this ended up having uh, Shang-Chi basically being the son of the Mandarin,
Hmm.
which again I
That
don't think is true in the comics. So they did a lot of stuff wrong with it.
Yeah,
I didn't
that
mind the movie
also
myself. But then again, that's not really knowing much about the character.
like I told my friend in theaters, I could have waited for this movie to come out on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
Like it's that it's not great, it's not good, but it's not bad either. It's watchable, and it's just like, all right, it's something to watch. On a weekday when you have nothing else to do, you're relaxing. It's
yeah.
not it's not much. Shimulu's performance wasn't like breathtaking. They try to make it seem more than it actually is, and it really shouldn't have been that. Again, it should have been a fun action flick, which they keep claiming it is, and it's like, not really. And again, quit using big actors for small roles when you have actors that can't carry a torch easily. Like they had Ben Kingsley, and that man was just like outdoing them in every scene that he was in. I'm like, yeah, don't do that to your other actors.
Well, unfortunately, I think with dealing with the Mandarin, they actually had to bring him in.
Mm,
And I
they,
did. I thought it might be. I wasn't sure whether it was supposed to be the Mandarin or not, the villain, because yeah, it says the Ten Rings, and the Ten Rings in Marvel makes me think of the Mandarin. But at the same time, it's like, okay, this guy doesn't really remind me of the Mandarin,
mhm.
the villain.
I'm in the minority because I loved that they mocked the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. I do not like the character of the Mandarin. I am not a huge fan of his, and I really hate him as a villain for
Ugh.
Iron Man. A lot of people, I took a lot of flack on Twitter one time for saying that, and I told them, dude, that's exactly why the first Iron Man is more successful than any of the Iron Man movies, because it's a technologically based story based in actual weapons production. It has nothing to do with magic. I go every time they interject magic into Iron Man storylines, those comics tend to not sell, and they're like, "No, you're wrong," and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, why did the Avengers get created? Do you know why they got created? Because I do. Because the Hulk, Thor, and Iron Man comics had all failed. They had all been canceled at one point. It wasn't until they're like, well, let's make a team book like the X Men, because the X Men is hitting. Well, not like the X Men, but like other team books.
Well, like Justice League, because I think Justice League or Justice Society had come out right around then and was proving to be a success.
So they got their failing uh, characters, the three main characters, the Hulk, Thor, and Iron Man, and then they added characters that were created in the Avengers stories, like Hawkeye, Black Widow,
Yeah.
and
Well, it would have been Wasp and
Wasp.
Hank Pym
Yeah,
or Ant
Ant Man and
Man
Wasp.
for the because they were the original five, right? Thor,
Yeah,
Hulk,
it was Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, uh, Ant Man, and Wasp were the original five, I believe.
yeah, and then Captain America replaced Hulk.
Hmm. And again, Captain America was another failing property. At the time that the Avengers were made, Captain America was not selling anymore. In fact, I think he even got canceled at one point as well. His book got canceled.
Well, they I knew. Well, his was probably canceled for a while because he was supposed to have. He wasn't originally a Marvel comic book. He was from the Timely era, I believe it was.
Hmm.
So, although I think Timely was an iteration of Marvel before it became
Yeah.
Marvel.
So basically, they didn't have the rights to him yet.
Yeah, or they may have or they may not have. I'm not quite sure. Well, the legality part, seeing as how, like I said, Marvel is, like I said, an offshoot. I'm not sure how you would describe Marvel.
Hmm.
Because it was Timely, Atlas, and then Marvel. I think it was the same company, but it changed its name. So, but I could be wrong because most of the properties Timely had, Marvel ended up having or acquiring,
Yeah.
like Namor and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
maybe they just bought everything that was Timely.
Yeah, they did make a lot of dumb decisions. Like they could have used the Mandarin, but making him the son of the Mandarin was not a good idea. Um, Bringing in Trevor was not a good idea. Katie, Aquafina as Katie was not a good idea. I'm sorry. I know that Hollywood is in love with Aquafina. Aquafina is not very talented in my eyes. She comes off more as annoying, and you can't buy any physicality from her either. In an action based kung fu movie, that's kind of what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to actually see some action, some kung fu action, some kung fu fighting.
Right?
I can't. They didn't even use that song in there, did they? Kung fu fighting.
Oh no, that they consider that thing to be racist and cultural appropriation. They're not going to use that song.
That would have been so appropriate. Somehow, I don't know how you'd exactly work it in,
Mm-hmm.
but I would have loved to hear that song in the maybe
Yeah, it
during.
should have been like an inspirational kung fu film, literally, like where it
Yeah,
inspired kung fu to like be brought back to the forefront. And yeah, they couldn't do that.
yeah, a martial arts film. How long? What was the last best martial arts film?
No,
I'm
and it's
not.
funny because I remember them saying that they used Jackie Chan's stunt team to do the fight scenes and stuff like that, and I'm like, Jackie Chan and his stunt team haven't done a good kung fu film ever, actually, because all his kung fu films were done by other teams before he actually created his own team.
Yeah, and yeah, there's kung fu and martial arts in his stuff, but I wouldn't really consider his most of his films kung fu films.
Exactly.
They're comedies.
Some of them are comedies, others are like police dramas.
Yeah, but
And
or
don't get me wrong,
comedy
they're good. I like
uh,
the police dramas. Like I think it's either called Police Story or Cop Story, one of the two. But they are that. They're not kung fu films. He when he was younger, he did kung fu films, but he
yeah,
hasn't done kung fu films in forever.
yeah,
And yes, basically they're action comedies. It's what he makes, like Rumble in the Bronx and things like that. When he started using his own team later on.
yeah. And there's nothing wrong with uh, the the action comedies, and that you happen to use kung fu. The action is kung fu action because that's what he's known for. Heck, I believe I forget not sure how true it is. With I think it was Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee's last film.
Hmm.
He stepped in for Bruce Lee when Bruce Lee died for the scenes that they still needed to do. So he's
No, that's not true. Bruce Lee finished filming that film. The one that he did not finish filming was Game of Death,
okay. Yeah, that one then. I
and they
don't
used
know.
the guy that became Bruce Lee. And yeah, I had a copy of it, and I couldn't stop laughing. There's an image where they literally look like they taped, because you could even see the Scotch tape lining. They taped a picture of Bruce Lee's face over the actor, and like the face isn't moving, but he's talking. It's horrible. It is horrible. It it is literally one of those films that you only watch to laugh at. Like it's so horrible that they did that to him. Like all the fight scenes are actually Bruce Lee because he had filmed all the fight scenes. The fight scene with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and with the Katana Master and then the Nunchaku Master and all that. He had filmed all that, and then he got called away to do Enter the Dragon. and unfortunately, he passed before he was able to go back to China and finish it. He assumed that he was going to be able to finish it, but I think he also assumed that his star was going to start to rise after Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, and it probably
So,
would have.
so
It's
he didn't want to he didn't want to leave the U.S. Fortunately, he ended up dying.
yeah, in tragic circumstances.
I think they finally figured out what actually killed him. He had an allergic reaction to something,
Yeah,
but he was
aspirin or
he,
penicillin.
yeah he was
Well,
I think
and
I don't know if it's a rumor or if he because they said that he was found in the apartment of his mistress when he had passed out.
yeah, uh, yeah. There's I've seen a couple shows on. Obviously, I've seen Enter the Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, and his wife says, yeah, that there's rumors or whatever.
Mm.
And unfortunately, the probably somebody, a couple of people actually know. There was one with that ended with Chuck Norris saying something, or Chuck Norris has talked about it and said what happened because him and Bruce were friends.
Yeah, they actually became really good friends because he looked he learned certain parts of fighting from uh, Chuck. A lot of people are like, no, 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 Chuck Norris. I'm like, no, he never
They,
really kicked high, like really high, until he started training with Chuck Norris because he wasn't into again a lot of the art that he was into. He didn't like animal fighting kung fu styles. He usually used Wing Chun, which doesn't have like very high kicks.
yeah, they worked out a lot together. They probably learned a little bit off each other by working out together. But
Hmm.
I know there was for the longest time the rumor that Chuck learned off of Bruce, but that's not the case. They according to Chuck, they worked out together.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that because I've seen most, if not all, of Chuck Norris's films, and if you look, it's all basic karate, like kendo karate and
Yeah,
um, basic karate martial arts. So he doesn't tend to use a lot of what Bruce Lee would have been doing in Jeet Kune Do.
yeah,
Now there are other actors and artists that did actually learn from Bruce Lee,
yeah.
but irregardless, the man was regardless, the man was an inspiration to his generation. I mean,
Oh,
think about it. They literally made a character in a comic book based off of who he is.
yeah,
I mean, if it's like Berserker with Keanu Reeves. Like it's exactly the same thing. He's literally based on Keanu Reeves and his action style, his current day action style.
and
And
I'm not sure whether I can say it with how much truth or whatever. Probably the whole martial arts fighting movies over here in Canada and the States got started probably because of Bruce.
well, yeah,
Or became
Bruce,
popular at least.
yeah, Bruce Lee is the reason for a lot of countries to have good martial arts films or to inspire others to do martial arts in films. Unfortunately, his star rose after his death, and even more in the '80s after his death.
Yeah,
Because the '70s, you still had far too many like cop dramas. That's what was in back then.
yeah,
You know, you had your Death Wishes, your um, what is it, your Dirty Harrys, and all that.
yeah.
Those were the more popular films. Your Bullet, all those films. It wasn't until we see the '80s when you start to see more uh, martial arts in films, and they even start using them on action films like Lethal Weapon. You see one of the characters is a martial artist. And the '80s is also where you get a lot of the military prowess too, like former special forces guys and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but the '80s was just like a rocking time for the film industry. You had almost every genre you could think of, just making it big.
yeah. Except for the superhero genre. I think it's the only one that probably flopped during the 80s.
Yeah, because you didn't really have
They didn't have the technology really to do superhero films.
that and also you didn't have a lot of people who grew up with books like that.
Yeah,
You know, but again, yeah, that film should have been a lot better than it really was.
which film?
The Shang the
Uh,
Shang-Chi film should have
oh
been a lot
yeah,
better than it really was. It
yeah.
should have literally like made everybody eat crow of how good it was. Like the roast channel should have come on and been like, "Yeah, we were wrong. This movie's great. It's fun." But you know, they tried to pander to China, and China didn't even allow it to be played in China.
You know, I get China's a big market and all that for films, but they need to stop. People need to make films for what they're supposed to be and not pander to anybody. Because when you pander to certain people, you're gonna mess things up. You know,
Hmm.
it's just sort of even like I get Christian films aren't supposed to pander to Christians, but they are, but they're not. But you still need to write a good script and all that. You know, I
Christian
remember.
films are hard. I'm not gonna lie, and the reason they're hard is because you have way too many denominations and you have far too many people arguing about scripture. So you get one little thing wrong and that's it. There's an entire sect of people that aren't going to want to watch it.
Hello, hey John.
What's going on, Rick?
Not much. Just talking about
I saw that. I
film.
saw that you were live, so I decided to come join you.
Yeah, cool, cool.
Diller?
Hey, what up, sketchbook?
We're talking about channels that roast
Channels that
IPs.
roast.
Yeah, like Nerdrotic and them that like to like critique bad films and things like that, like in the industry right now, or even bad shows and stuff like that. There, there's one guy in my Twitter feed put that they were that people can't are they part of the
Oh, okay.
problem? In other words, calling too much attention to things like Batwoman that should have been a show that should have probably died out already because it's so horrible. It really is written really bad, though. I have seen pieces of it.
Yeah, I saw the first season. I've seen part of the second season, and yeah, it's written really bad, really cringy.
Oh, I haven't seen it at all. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know. It
wouldn't.
doesn't. It
I wouldn't
doesn't.
recommend it.
Doesn't strike me as something that like like must see TV.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it's definitely not must see TV. It's just
Like for instance, the television show. Well, not television show. I don't know what you would call it. The TV show, uh, Loki. Right.
Oh, that's
It
another bad
has
one.
it. It has that, but it has that air of this is important. This is something you're going to want to see, just because. it's going to be relevant to maybe the next Loki movie or whatever, you know. So I'm like, all right, I'll wait for that to come out, you know, and then I'll binge watch it. It wasn't too bad. But just television shows in general, they gotta step it up overall.
Yeah.
Um,
No, no, you're
the
right.
thing is, the landscape for TV shows has changed tremendously since shows like 24 and The Sopranos, you know, Breaking Bad.
I agree.
It kind of showed everybody that, like, you know, oh, TV shows aren't just something that, you know, are throwaway things and are meant to be low budget. You can actually make something of high quality. Kind of a bad thing. It's kind of like a new guy that shows up at work and starts working in circles around everybody else, you know?
Making everybody look bad.
Yeah, so you're making us look bad. Why don't you slow down your pace there, buddy? You old pal. I don't know, maybe I'm spoiled with TV shows, but now I'm like, it's got to be
Well, no,
really
no, no.
good.
Yeah, understand what you mean because I've seen 24 and I used to watch The Sopranos, and I could see that. But you also got to remember that that's a primetime Fox show on 24, and The Sopranos was a heavily funded show by HBO, so they are in a class all their own. You could say the same thing about Game
Well,
of Thrones.
that's the same thing I want to. I mean, that's the main problem I have with most things is that there is just a plethora of garbage to sift through. Do I really need 400 channels on my TV?
Oh yeah,
You
no,
know,
no, I agree with you.
why don't we just concentrate on, you know, if we're gonna make something, make it good, make it right.
Yeah, I agree with you on the overdoing it on channels. Like you get DirecTV or you get some provider, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
advertise all these channels, but yet they can't beat out something as simple as Netflix or Amazon because they while they have a variety, they at least have some stuff that's still good on there, or they have older stuff that you're like, I'd rather watch the older stuff than the new stuff because the new stuff is just bad.
Yeah, something that's, you know, like 'cause a lot of that stuff. Because the thing is, people have always been making garbage, and there are some people that are out there that actually give it the old college try, and what ends up coming out on the other end just so happens to be garbage, and that's okay. But you know, to go out there realistically, to go out there with the intention of making something subpar is inexcusable.
Well, see, that's the thing. They
Making
don't
these
think
these
they're making it
bat
subpar. They think
Yeah,
that
making
they're
these bat
speaking
shows
to an
whose
audience.
costumes are getting outdone by you know, pornographic parodies. Uh, what are you
You're talking about
doing? You
Captain
know,
Marvel now.
yeah, give your head a shake. You know,
Yeah, well, that's because they want to
take it
go
back to
and
the drawing board.
they want to go and change everything to make it their own. Where the pornographic parodies, they're relying on what everybody knows instead of just
Well, I mean,
changing.
what's the end goal, right? I don't at all believe that the end goal is to push a degenerate homosexual or whatever agenda or left leaning agenda. I don't believe that's the end goal. The end goal for anything is always money. And if you're going to be able to do something very, very cheaply, and you know, subpar work, you're going to do a cash grab essentially. You want to make it, you know, for as cheaply as possible, and then essentially free advertisement by making it very cringe and, oh, look at how outrageous the concepts we're working with over here.
No, no,
Get your money and you run.
I gotta disagree with you on that though, because like I know a lot of people are like, oh, you just think it's an agenda and this and that, and you'd say, well, it's always the end goal is always money, which used to be true because if you look at it now, how are you saying that you're gonna greenlight? Like, let's go back to Batwoman. How are you gonna greenlight two more seasons when it's your worst running show ever? and you're not getting the advertising time that you should be getting on this. So you're not making your money back. You're losing money on this show. Plenty of people have proved this. Same thing with a lot of the films. They're losing money on these films, but they're still greenlighting more films that are almost exactly the same. In other words, the audience is speaking and saying, no, we're not going to purchase this. We're not going to go see it. But you still continue to do it. Then at some point, you got to realize it's not about the money, it's about something else. Because they're willing to lose their
I don't
wallet.
know. It's always about the money.
Well, for some people it is. Some people it's not.
Nope. For everybody, it's always about the money.
John,
Because look at Warner Brothers and look at DC. They've been passed around more times than the girls in the street corners in my neighborhood. You know, they keep losing money. They keep losing their shirts on these bad decisions that they're making, and they still keep doing it every time. You know, they got bought out by AT&T. Then they got sold now to Discovery, and they're still doing the same thing.
well, but that's half, say, A and TT's problem. Okay, AT&T sees a problem, yet AT&T doesn't go and say, "Hey, quit this BS." Because does DC Comics or Warner Brothers care that they're getting sold around, passed around? Obviously not.
That's not true because they did fire a lot of the DC staff after they lost so much money on these woke books and stuff like that. They fired a lot of their staff.
Yeah, but then
And
they
I
brought.
mean, we're all here. We're all here to do the best we can. But if you have no other alternatives, what do you do? I've also
uh,
heard it bandied around that the people are just creatively bankrupt.
well, yeah, but it's the people that they hire that are creatively bankrupt. Because you
Hmm.
guys aren't. Look at
I mean,
what you
how
guys
many?
did. The Buckler was a throwaway character that you created one night, just on stream playing around, and now you've turned it around and made it a full fledged character. You
Hmm.
know, you have more creativity in your
But
little baby on the screen.
who's to say that the Buckler would be commercially viable or successful if taken to a medium like a sequential television show or something? Maybe the Buckler would go up there and they would be like another bad decision by Warner Brothers. Look at this. Who knows?
Yeah, but see, with the Buckler, it's hard to say because nobody's heard of the Buckler. But everybody's heard of Superman, yet Superman books are failing. Or Batman, and Batman books are failing. I don't know whether those books are or not. I'm
all
just.
all mainstream comics are a shadow of their former selves. I don't care what that guy that debated EVS says. The numbers compared to the numbers in the early 2000s, or even better yet, compared to the numbers in the early 90s before Image, yeah, they're nowhere near those numbers. You have maybe a handful of books that are still selling, but nothing compared to what they used to.
And it just may be a sign of the times. I don't think that the sales will ever come back for comic books. Just like I don't think that,
Well, no, yeah, I don't think that they're going to be as big
DVDs
as they
are. I
used to
don't think
be.
that DVDs are going to be making a comeback either.
I don't think that comic books will have the glory days as they did in the 90s, but they can go back to what they did in the early 2000s, where they had
Maybe.
substantial amount of the market. But now with manga doing them like giving them really real competition now. The thing is that you got to go by the generational gaps too. And this is what I've argued with Larry from Rebel Comics, and I've argued with a lot of people on chats where it's like you don't understand that digital is the future whether you like it or not. They're like, no, this and that collection will never. I never said collecting will go away. I just said that main readers are going to be focused on digital. It's happened to DVDs. It happened to TV shows. Now it's going to happen to comics. Most of my kids' generation prefers to read on their phones, on their tablets. They don't care to own physical. Unless they're going to collect it, they don't care to own physical. Or
And
like,
whether or not that's a good decision is 100% irrelevant.
yes,
Things are going to be as they are. Times change. I'm not
yes,
going to sit around here and say I'm going to bring back the return of and the glory days of DVDs. No
yes,
matter how
yes,
much I wish for it and want it, it's not going to happen.
yes,
Yeah.
because the market has spoken, and it doesn't matter what you say. The market is what speaks.
And it
Or
doesn't mean that there are no good things to watch anymore. It just means you're not going to find them on DVD.
or I'm gonna bring back the glory days of VHS. Okay, then
Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
there's a nostalgia factor, and there's always going to be people. I mean, look at the YouTube channel Red Letter Media, right? Uh,
Yeah,
they have a whole little skit show based upon they work on a defunct VCR repair shop, and people like it because I remember VHSs. Yeah, that was the good old days because that was when they saw their stuff. That was their heyday. That was what was popular when they were in high school. So they have that longing, that nostalgia for it. But it doesn't mean you're ever going to bring it back, and it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing that it's gone now.
wait. Rick, are you connecting his hairline to the bottom of his beard?
I'm not sure.
Is
You
this guy
mean
Wolfman? Yeah, because you literally colored under his ear the same color
yeah?
as his hair. So you're connecting the rear of his hair to the bottom of his jawline.
Rick, give your head a shake.
I just wasn't sure how far it was going. The hair. Some of the John's lines here aren't completely clear.
Blaming the artist again.
Who else am I to blame?
I blame the colorist because if I were to color this, it would look stellar.
Yeah, well, you did too. It's the artist.
Nope. I get pages from people to color that look like hot trash, and I still make them look stellar.
Well, you're a good colorist too. So
I'm like, what is this? A foot or a hand? What's going on here?
So you've been coloring Batwoman pages or what?
Yep. You got to go where the money is.
But yeah, that's what I was saying, and especially with NFTs, dude. Now, how long till we see digital comics come out at like NFTs, where they're literally worth money now because they have digital coding?
Yeah, maybe that could be the new future.
That's why I keep telling people you need to start doing
People shouldn't
digital.
be kicking and screaming and dead weighting themselves and making somebody else drag them into the future.
Yeah, I remember Rebel's answer to me was, "I don't sell to an audience. I sell to collectors." I'm like, "You're a comic book creator." He didn't get what I was saying. I'm like, "You create comics. Why would you be selling to collectors? Collectors selling to collectors is a comic book shop owner's uh, business, not the creator." I told him this is exactly what happened in the '90s. He's like, "No,
Nah, you
he,
can't equate things that happened. The 90s are gone.
no. That this is exactly what the main industry was doing in the '90s. They started to sell to collectors and not to readers. So readers weren't buying the upteen printings of these issues with holographic this and holographic that. People who wanted them to be worth something were buying.
Nah, garbage. Let me tell you what's actually happening. I got my finger on the pulse here,
Did
Rick.
you just actually mean, John?
Yep. No, I didn't actually you. I said, let me tell you what's actually happening.
Isn't that actually
This is what's
actually?
actually. No, it's not, Rick. Pay attention. Give your head a shake. All right. This is what's happening. Because people are kind of having a fundamental misunderstanding about what exactly a customer is these days to these people that make comic books online. These indie guys. Gone forever are the days of Image Comics, making a small imprint and taking on the big dogs. It's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. There's no camaraderie around enough to get a bunch of people together to make a new this or that. What it is you are not purchasing a product. You're not walking into a Walmart and buying an iron and walking out with an iron and a receipt. Now, the way that kids want to support what they watch, what they see, is through a Patreon, is through an OnlyFans, is through an Indiegogo, where you essentially like a creator, you back the creator, and whatever you happen to get is the perk. Whatever they create on a daily basis, you get access to that. And you thank them by tipping them in their Patreon. $5 a month, whatever. You want access to that cyanide and happiness daily, little comic strip. You donate your $7, $13. Some people donate, $200, a month.
No, I
And the
agree
creator creates.
with some of that because that's the whole YouTube thing. But much like I've told people about Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, that's not the reality of the situation because life doesn't happen on YouTube, doesn't happen on Twitter, doesn't happen on Facebook.
Oh, life happens on YouTube. Careers are made on YouTube.
Yes, but I can go down the street to somebody that has the same hobby and ask them if they know who this is, and 80% of the time, probably even higher, they're gonna be like, "No, I don't know who
Well,
that is."
that's the thing. Gone are the days where we have communal experiences with media. It used to be that everybody would get together and watch, a TV show. It's not that way anymore. I can go. I mean, media is so
Yes, it's on demand,
diverse
is what you're saying.
these days that I can watch my entire everything that I watch. Period. Every single TV show I watch, every YouTube channel I watch, I can go to my neighbor's house and they could hear of nothing that I watch. Completely oblivious to everything that I enjoy immensely. You think if I go to my neighbor's house and I mention Red Letter Media, they're going to know what the hell I'm talking about?
No, they're not.
I spend hours watching Red Letter Media. I spend hours watching The Walking Dead. But because my neighbors watch, One Life to Live, we don't have a 7-channel TV no more. Everybody's entertainment experience is personalized. It's their own.
No, I understand that. But going to what you said with The Walking Dead, you're gonna on average find more people that you don't know out in the public that know what The Walking Dead is because it's that big of a reach, and that's what I'm talking about. This is the same situation that I talked to when we talk about EVS on other channels about when they like to compare themselves to the market, and I'm like, they really shouldn't because they're not in the comic books market. And people are like, yes, they are. And I'm like, no, nobody on Indiegogo is in the comic book market because I think I go to my local comic book store still.
No, they're in the comic book market. They're not in the traditional LCS publishing department anymore, which, by the
Exactly.
way, is dying just like DVDs. It's going away, and that's not a bad thing.
No. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but what I'm saying is literally the normies that collect comics to read them don't know about their books. That's what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is they like to compare themselves to DC, Marvel. You can't because you're not in that market. That's their market is still the LCS. It's still the physical market. You're not in that market. You're not advertised in their books. You're not advertised in the ordering books. You're not. Most people don't know. I've gone to LCSs when I was buying the Ninja Turtle Ronin books. When I went to go pick up Berserker there, I asked the managers. I talked to them and I asked them, do they know about Cyberfrog coming back? They're like, no. Some of them don't even know what Cyberfrog is. They're that young, and I'm like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you're not in that market. You never entered the market.
Yeah.
You decided not to enter that market. So you can't compare yourself to that market. You're comparing apples and oranges, basically, is what I'm saying. But there is still a huge market out there for that. Is it gonna is it gonna die eventually? No, it's gonna change. It'll turn into collectibles only. In other words, only certain books will get physical copies because they're more collectible than others. And that's another thing why I have this discussion with like Larry and others, because I'm like, the market here isn't big enough for you to be charging so much for certain things because they're, and I'm throwing air quotes over here, collectible. Their stuff in the LCS is collectible because those are big names. There's a huge attraction for it. In other words, like I was telling Rick the last time, you're overvaluing your work. That's my issue here because I know enough about business to see when a person is valuing their work and what the actual value of the work is. Mike is one of those examples I constantly use where he would charge so much and I know Rick told me, yeah, but they pay for it. I'm like, yes, but if I was looking as a publisher, I'd be like, no, you're overvaluing yourself. You're not that hot of a commodity.
Well, they're not, like you just said, they're not in the same business.
Yes, exactly. Which is to me is like dumbfounding when you're charging this much. Then I go look at the actual product, read the actual product, and I'm like, no, this isn't worth what you're saying. It's not.
Well, they're not that's the fundamental misunderstanding that people have is that they're not charging for the product. They're charging for the experience of being around Mike Miller.
That would be true if it was one campaign or two campaigns. But when you're
being a
running
part
three,
being a part
four,
of his
five
Discord.
campaigns,
Why
uh,
why limit it to a number?
why limit it to a number? Because now you've become a retail. You understand what I mean? Now you've become retail. You're just
No,
selling the
you haven't
product.
explained why. Explain.
Yes, because you're exactly becoming what I said. You're becoming a retail product, and there entails it's kind of a workaround. It's what we call it's against business ethics. They're working around the campaign due to the fact that now they don't have to answer. Because if you read, whenever you back a book, it says it's not guaranteed, right? But most of these
Yeah, it's
that
saying
have
you're
made
not buying
so
a
many,
product.
exactly. But most of these people who have already gone three, four campaigns have made more than enough money where they themselves can take their own money, invest it in their product, and sell it. So there's no
Well, why
reason
would you
for them.
why would you be investing? Why would you take your product and invest it into a dying industry?
I didn't say they have to invest it in that. They could put it on digital. They could put it. They could still put it to sell it through the same means that they're selling it instead of going on demand. Because at this point, the customer will eventually like wake up and be like, "No, we're just being fleeced. We're being fleeced for what we have." It's the same thing that the
Everybody's
industry
being
did.
fleeced for every product they buy.
Well, yeah, yes and no. Some products are
What?
worth what you're paying for them. Some products are worth what you're paying for them.
Products are worth whatever they're worth to you.
No, no. See, that's not how business works. That's not how it works at all.
That's how
You literally
selling
have to.
works.
No, that's how collecting selling works. An industry I have used to belong to, and also I belong to the other
No,
side of
if
the
I go to
business
the
where
store and I
we
say, hey,
go
I
based.
want to buy
Hold
this
on, hold on. Let
microwave,
me finish. Yes, exactly. They have to go based off what it costs to make and what it costs. You know what it costs to pay to the person to make it. They got to take all the overhead and put that into the equation and how many they need to sell to make their money back and how many they need to sell to make a good profit. That's what
yes.
they're gonna do when they're gonna put something out like that. And that's the way I'm looking at these books because how am I getting a more of an
Wait, did you
experience?
finish or not yet?
Okay, now I'm finished.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, all you have to do is look at it like you're selling anything else in the world. You go to anybody and you want something from them. Your dad would always tell you, don't think about when you're buying something what it's worth to you. Think about what it's worth to them. What will they take for it, not what you're willing to pay for it. Because everything in the world is all about what you're willing to pay. They don't want a comic book. They don't want to go to a store and pick up a comic book
and go home and read their comic book for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then it's over. They want the experience of talking to somebody that has a comic book, being in their Discord of somebody that makes comic books, talking about ideas, hearing about their ideas live as they're happening. And then when they have an event, like, oh, let me go and do an Indiegogo, they want to be a part of that. They want to support. Just like people will buy bathwater from eThoughts.
Oh, doggone!
That's what it is. We're not in. We're. I mean, people that make comics in the indie sphere on YouTube and Indiegogo, they're not in competition with Marvel and DC, who are selling books at the and they have the distribution to get things done for $4, $5, $6 a book.
I agree
They're
with
not.
you.
They're never going to be in competition with that.
I agree with you. But why are they? Why do they placate that on their channels?
Placate. What?
In other
Act
words,
like.
why do they? Yes. Sorry, it was a $10 word.
Well, placate. That doesn't actually match, but. What did you say, Rick? I missed the word you said.
Well, I was just trying to say what he meant by placate, which was, which I forget what. I should know, but, placate.
Oh, you're right. Thank you for correcting me. I learned something today. I kept misusing that word then. Why
Yeah,
do they?
placate.
Yeah,
Placate means to
I
like.
looked it
Yeah.
up to make somebody less angry. Um, why do they keep pushing that on their channels though?
Pushing what? What are they pushing?
Comparing themselves to an industry they don't belong to, or a part of the industry they don't belong to. I
Oh, they're comparing them. So they're comparing their products to the final products, right?
Yes, and I've done the same thing, and they don't match up. They don't because I paid $41 for a book that's not finished, doesn't even have a complete story in it. I'm not saying to give me the entire story. I hate it when people are like, "Oh, like," but you're not in the comic book floppy business anymore. You're in the graphic novel business. That's the business you should be in. If not, you're fleecing your customer for far too much money. Think about it. It usually takes about 4 issues, volumes,
Yeah,
whatever.
you're comparing Gala apples to Red Delicious apples to Granny Smith,
So
but
you're okay. You're okay for paying $200 for a complete story.
I'm not okay with paying $200 for a car. What are we talking about?
But that's what I'm saying. That's what these books are going to cost a customer. At what point, where did the bean counters come in? And eventually, it's going to
Well,
create
the thing
resentment
is, the
from
bean
your own
counters don't
customers.
ever have to come in. People will always buy things because people have in this world, America, they have disposable income.
Yes, I understand that. But it also creates resentment with your own audience.
Or it can, because,
It will create resentment with an audience that is laboring under the assumption that you're in competition with Marvel or DC.
No, it'll create resentment with an audience that feels that that's not what they paid for.
you know,
In fact, they'll just throw away the whole comparison, and they'll be like, "No, no, 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 no. You charged me $35 plus shipping, which came out to $41 for one volume of a 57-page story that is part introduction and part introduction to the new storyline, and no complete story in there. Yes, the art is beautiful, but the writing isn't par for what I'm paying. I can go and buy something from Barnes and Nobles at $41 that's
I
better
thought we
than
were
that.
talking. Are you talking about somebody's specific book, or are you talking about
I'm talking
generalities?
about generalities. You could put EVS in there. You could put Mike in there. You could put anybody that charges you $20+ for a book plus shipping and handling on Indiegogo, and you get a subpar product for your purchase or for your backing, to quote it more appropriately.
Yes, if you were, yes, I understand completely that if you are judging it based upon the old model of I get a graphic novel from a comic book company about a character, you are not getting what you pay for.
Yes, exactly. But not just because you're comparing it to the old industry. You're just taking the book on its merit itself.
Let me
Oh,
ask you this.
I
Let
got a
me.
good example. Brian Shearer, 70 something pages, good book. I enjoyed it, but it doesn't have a complete story. It's just a 71-page floppy. In other words, their mindset hasn't changed. They themselves are still like they're working in the industry when they shouldn't be doing that,
Hmm.
because it should be a
I
full
agree.
story. I'm not telling you to give me the whole story, but give me a full story.
I agree. But what you're not hearing from me, and I think it's because um, it's hard. It's hard to it's hard to want to. It's hard that things are this way because it is like you're getting ripped. But at the same time, I feel like this, right? I feel like this. Let's say, for instance, I don't back a lot of books. I did back one book in very early on called Jawbreakers.
Yeah, which I still want to read.
Brian, like I think of it like this: Brian Shear. I don't know who that guy is,
Yeah,
right?
he's a cool guy.
But I know who your boy Zach is.
Mhm.
I think of it like this: how many hours of entertainment did I get out of Jawbreakers? And by hours of entertainment,
Jawbreakers, or Zach, you mean?
that's the whole point. It's all one and the same.
It's not. You're justifying
It's
that. Has
one and the
nothing. It
same, but
has
it's
not,
not one and
that
the same at the same time. I would say.
that's just you. Now you're reaching for justification for a backing, which is
Right? Yes.
valid for you, because again, I backed the Buckler because I wanted the book, and then I backed again because I think you're a cool cat. You're a family guy. I like following your channel, so I understand where you're coming from. I did the same thing for Rick. I'll do the same thing for any of the guys that I talk to right here. I backed Melvin. I didn't have a lot of money at the time. I backed Melvin only digitally. I wish I would have backed physically because it's a decent book. Um, but when I'm looking at this, like the stuff that I'm writing based on what I'm reading, I'm just looking at the product itself, just the book.
Yes,
Like
you're
I
looking
don't
at the
like.
old model.
No. I'm not looking at the old model because I'm not
You're
comparing
stuck
them.
in the old model.
How am I stuck in the old model if all I'm doing is reading their book and reviewing it as a product and as a book itself? This has nothing to do with their YouTube channel. Because think about it, John. I could have not backed your book, and I could still be on your channel, like in the chat. I can still enjoy your old videos. I could do the same thing for Rick. I could do the
I,
same thing for your
Absolutely.
boy
I
Zach.
think I think the
Those
different.
things are not charged for, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So then
I
why
think
would
that.
they factor into my backing? I could always PayPal you money if I want to support your channel but don't want to buy your book. So again, those are two different things.
Right.
You
And
don't That does
that's
not
the
equate
new
into the book.
model.
It doesn't equate into the book though.
But that's the new
Well,
model that people are having a hard time wrapping their heads around.
I'd say both models are legit for this because and you're both right. Yes, it's a new model, John, and John's right in the fact that it's a new model. There are people that come and watch your channel day in and day out, like Ryan or John's or whomever's. And
Hmm.
yes, a way to support them is to say buy their product. So whether it's up to the old standards, as John is putting it, is not necessarily a thing. But then you go on shows like somebody else's channel that they don't come and watch your thing on a regular basis, and they just buy your product based on you coming on there and selling yourself or the product. So you need, I think you do need to have it both ways, because you do need to have a good product. Otherwise, are you going to get people buying it that aren't on your channel or whatever?
Not
I
just
think
that,
that I think that's where Sketch is
basically
right.
the the uh, the model that John is talking about. I understand what he's saying. but all that does is give free reign to creators to pretty much just put out any garbage out there, and it's excused because, oh well, you got all this other content from me anyway. Because now it's like, oh well, I only backed because I like his channel and stuff like that, so it doesn't matter that the book is trash. That's
Right.
literally, yeah, but that's that's like the dumbest thing ever, bro. It really
That's
is.
the new model.
So
Yeah,
so
hey, it's the
it's
dumbest
okay.
thing ever.
You're gonna
Who's
you're gonna let
accusing anybody out there of intelligence?
so you're gonna excuse poor product because of the fact that they gave you some entertainment on
I,
YouTube.
I, because I'm a consumer and I beware, I don't give anybody credit for anything,
Well, no,
and
yes,
I,
and
and I don't excuse them for anything.
you're more like me. Like there's certain ones I won't back. Like when I was making good money at Lexus, I was backing a lot of things, and I've gotten some books that are like, ugh. Like I didn't even know these people had channels, and I'm like, I wish I would have been on their channel because I would have known that this book wasn't going to be that good.
And hello, Eagle. Why is the
I have
chat
no
dead? I
clue.
have no idea why.
The chat is dead, but the stream is live. I like talking about this, and I think the Buckler is going to be a surprise book to a lot of people,
Oh, it will be, yes.
and not just art wise. Everybody knows you're more than a half decent artist. You're really good, but
Oh no, the story's
I
gonna
think
make you cry.
I think that yeah, because amateur writers tend to write what they know, and if you can entertain people on your channel, which I've seen you do, and on others' channel, which I've seen you do, then yes, I'm pretty sure that you're gonna writing what you know. You're gonna write more than half decent. And this is the reason why I didn't back Lone Star the first time either. Because I was like, I don't know. I don't think Mike's going to be that good of a writer. Same reason I didn't back Cyberfrog either. Because I'm like, I don't think EVS is going to be that great of a writer. I think he's going to be a bit of a fun writer.
Yeah, people are always flabbergasted because I haven't backed. The only Malin book I've backed is Jawbreakers, which was a Zach book. I
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
backed the EVS book.
I'm
I
not a
don't, I
fan
don't
of
have a
Malin's art.
Cyberfrog copy.
Like, I'm not a fan of Malin's art. And I'm not a fan of. I'm actually more of a fan of Malin the person. Like,
Yeah,
I've seen his
I like
interviews.
Malin, and if it came around and I had the money at the time and it was happening, I would have. But the thing is, his campaigns come and go so fast. I always forget to back him. It's not like a priority for me.
I don't think he's going to be a great writer, though. I think you would be a better writer than he is.
I
In
gotta
fact, I
read
put money on
it.
it.
Well, yeah, not that you guys have read it or be able to read it. Well, actually, John will be able to.
I actually want to read a Nasser book that's not horror. Like I want to see if how capable he is at writing. But since horror is his niche and I don't care for horror, I'm not gonna read any of his stuff anytime soon.
Yeah, but what all I'm trying to say is that whole dynamic is they're kicking against the pricks. They're refusing to see that it's not your mama's comic book. That's not what this indie sphere is anymore. It used to be you had to go out there and you were going to try to get a little contract with Image maybe, and you put some money forward and you attend the cons and you do all that rigmarole, and then you have diminishing returns. It's not that way anymore.
Yeah, but it's also not what you're
People
saying
want
either.
personal.
That
Huh?
was it's not what you're saying anymore either. Because that model that you're talking about is actually from 2 or 3 years ago, and newer comic buyers stop buying. Like I'm not talking about like mainstream buyers. I'm talking about backers on crowdfunding. They're backing comics that one they know that if it's like a repeat issue, they know it's good, or they're backing people whose channels are more about structuring the comics properly and making the comics good. They're not about just keeping people entertained like your Jack Show, your
No, they're
EDS,
not.
shit like that. Oh
I'm
yeah,
I'm looking
yeah
at the
they are.
Indiegogo campaigns, and that is not what's happening.
Oh well, you also got to remember that these people are charging for frills and extras and stuff that to me shouldn't be done because it's actually one of the detriments to the books.
I got a
Like when you
feeling.
Okay.
I got a feeling, Rick,
Yeah,
in my loins
we're listening.
that not. I got a feeling that not a lot of people are gonna get on this new model
Well, no,
because
well,
it's just not for them.
yeah. Well, a lot of it they probably won't because you know the books are can be expensive, and that's the biggest thing I think with the new model, bringing the books down to affordability.
Then you also have YouTube saturation too. You have
Yep, because
uh,
everybody got a breaking point. Speaking of breaking points, I went to the grocery, not the grocery store, the liquor store, right? The Circle K, and I went there, and I'm having a problem with my debit card, where
mhm.
sometimes I don't know if it's the chip got too many scratches on it. Sometimes it's not reading right. So I take my Ben and Jerry's Moose Tracks ice cream, those little tiny quart ones.
The pints.
I take that, yeah, I take that thing up to the register, and the lady scans it. I ask for 2 packs of Newport 100s, and I get this Ben and Jerry's ice cream. And the lady rings it up, and it comes to a grand total of $28.99.
Oh, doggone it.
I say, "Go to top of what?" And I look at it, and of course they took away my discount for my cigarettes, and now they're $10 a piece. So it's $20 for the cigarettes and $8.99 for the ice cream.
Oh wow!
$8.99 for that tiny pint, and I say, is this correct? $8.99 for this pint of ice cream? She's like, yeah. Well, it's 7.90 something plus this a tax. I was like, and I looked at her. And I was like, there's no reason for that. And she started laughing, and I was like, okay, I'm putting this back because if I go up there and they charge me $5 for this ice cream, that's a highway robbery. I'll probably still pay it though. But at some point, there's some point it gets stupid. It gets ridiculous. There's a breaking point, and you got to use your better judgment. And say, you know what, this ain't for me. Not today, Satan.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now I know why Californians don't gain weight, man. They overcharge you for snacks.
Right? So I mean, the thing is, if you're looking around and you want a comic book, but you just want a comic book. You don't want to hear about this person's life story. You don't care about their new character or what they're doing next month. You're not following them on YouTube. You're not following them on Twitter. You just want a comic book. And it looks halfway decent, but you don't know anything about them. I understand completely you being aghast at the sticker. You get the sticker shock. I
Hmm.
understand it. I get it. And that's probably not the purchase for you because you're not in the market to support somebody, or you're not in the market to make a new friend or find a new avenue for entertainment. You're just in the market for a comic book. It's not for you.
Yeah, but that doesn't give you an avenue to become like a new friend or anything anyway if you back them. Because you still have to super chat most of these bigger guys anyway, or else they won't read your chat. So where is the interaction from your little model? There isn't. You're basically just being fleeced
No,
on
you do
both
not
ends
get
now.
Your
unfettered access to everyone. You are
yeah,
correct.
your interaction is just being able to watch them and maybe watch them actually make a little bit of the comic.
I
You
don't know
know,
by your model, man. I got some like beachfront property in Arizona. I could sell these people because
You probably could.
all
I'm
I
sorry. I'm
see is
sorry that you're
lollipops.
you're finding this difficult to understand, but people buy bathwater on the internet. What the? They absolutely will buy beachfront property.
Duds buy bathwater, and idiot YouTubers buy bathwater for to make content.
yeah. Well, that's the people that some people are looking for to buy their comic
And
book.
that bathwater that one ethot stowed had to have had that chemical that Alex Jones was talking about because it literally made one YouTuber into a furry. So all I gotta say about that. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but to me, that's not a business model. That's justification for your purchase. And that's the customer doing that. It's not an actual model. It's just
Yeah,
the
well,
customer justifying
it's
their purchase.
I'd say it's the model, and that's the customer that you're looking for. That'll make that justification.
A sucker?
Yeah, because that's the thing. There's been
It's
people
like we
like
think of
that.
it like this, right? Think of it like this, Rick Piper. You know they have these things called mobile games for your phone, right?
Yeah,
And a lot of these mobile games on your telephone, your cell phone telephone, they'll have what's called in-app purchases.
yeah,
Now these games are free. Everybody has access to these games, just like a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, they're called microtransaction games.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But if I want to get a fuller experience, if I want to get I want to get ahead. If I want a little bit extra, I gotta pay some money. That's all that is.
yeah. Which some people are suckers and give, and some people aren't.
Well, you
Yeah,
can't call them suckers because the thing is this: people used to pay $60 for a video game, but
used
now
to.
they're getting a video game for free, and in the lifetime of that video game, they'll spend $43 on in-app purchases. Are they a sucker,
Yes.
or are they making a smarter purchase now?
43. What mobile gamers do you know, man? Most people drop over $100 easily once they're vested into that game for more than 6 months.
No, I have a game right here called, and I play it all the time. It's called Kingdom Rush.
No, I
Right?
didn't. I didn't
This
say
game,
my backers, Joshua.
But Dillard, we've already
if
established that you're kind of a cheap ass, so we know you're not gonna spend that much money.
but I'm also a sucker. Now, if I buy everything on Kingdom Rush, if I now not talking about let me buy more coins so that I can have boosts, but if I just buy every single feature, I buy all the extra hidden heroes. They're about $4.99 a piece. There's 6 of them. If I buy all the extra stuff,
Yeah,
it'll end up running me about 35, $40. That's it.
yeah, yeah. So you basically pay for the game.
Right. But normally a game like this on a PS2 would run you $60. So are you being a sucker?
No, not really. Usually games that are top down like that usually run for about 35. They
Hmm?
usually don't charge you full price on those games. They don't make sales at full price those kind of games.
I don't know. I played Silent Bomber. That was a top-down game. It cost me $66.
They saw you coming from a long way
They
up.
saw they saw about 100,000 people coming from a long way away.
Okay, Ego says, "Is it your grandfather's comic?" Because you said it's not your grandmother's comic. And Joshua says
Yes, it
all of
is.
Rick says all his fans are and backers are suckers. Rick, is that true? Are we all suckers?
No, I've never said that. That's not what I said. I'm more thinking more like people for EVS or even Mike a little bit.
What?
What are you doing to this guy's hairline, Rick? Come on. You gave him a reverse widow's peak.
I was trying to go by the lines that you have there, John.
He looks like one of those Hispanics that has like two fingers for a forehead.
Right here, I might have brought it back a little
Look like
too
one of them,
far.
like one of those black kids that goes into the barber shop and he's like, "Hey, can you line up my line here?" And they cut him the wrong way.
I'll probably do more
Oh my God!
corrections.
Have you seen that show, The Real Housewives of New Jersey? You ever seen that show?
No, no, I don't watch those shows,
There,
but they
there's
are
this
funny.
lady that my wife is in love with. My wife's in love with this lady on there named Teresa Judice, and
Mhm.
she's one of those ladies that has like a one finger forehead. Oh, it's hilarious. She looks like a little monkey.
My brother, growing up, my younger brother, he had like a two-finger forehead, and we used to crack fun at him because we would tell him that you got to shave your beard and shave your forehead to make sure he looks like you have a forehead. And he would shave the sides off of his forehead because if not, he looked like a friggin' Lego brick.
Yeah, it's terrible. I could use a smaller forehead, to be honest. My forehead's a little
Well, yeah,
sizable.
but you're in your 30s already. What do you got? Receding hairline going on already?
No, I have all my hair. I have a large forehead.
Oh, you got a bumper noggin?
Yeah, I got a 5 head.
Yeah, my son too. My son's got a big forehead, but he
I
hasn't
felt so
had one,
bad
but
when
you
my
can
when
see
my
it.
daughter came out. When my daughter came out, my wife, she just popped out, and I was like, "Wow, look at the size of that head."
She's got your forehead, is what you're
Man,
saying, John?
yep. She got my forehead, and she got my wife's
Poor
big
child.
brains.
That poor child. What did you do to her?
She completely wrecked my wife coming out too.
Doc was like, "This is gonna be a 10 stitcher."
Mm-hmm. Mm. 16.
I'm gonna need more suture
16
kit.
sutures. Yeah, she was all bleeding out all over the floor. The doctor like slid a bucket. The doctor slid a bucket between his legs, with the little plastic lined buckets. And he's like, "Can you go over there and talk to your wife, make sure she don't pass out or nothing?" I'm like, "All right, let me go."
Jeez, I wonder what your wife would think about you talking about this stuff on
I've
air.
already talked about this on my channel, Rick. You don't ever watch my show. I hate you so much. It's not shameful, Rick. This is just things that happen, to your wife, to
Yeah,
your family.
True, but a bit personal too. So.
yeah. I know. With my first son, they had to cut her open a little bit more, so that because he has a big noggin. I was like looking at the doc, like, "Hey, I want to use that later on, man. Don't cut it too
Hmm.
too wide, unusable."
It's the thing is, well, to get back to what we were talking about, I don't feel that it's all about what you can afford as a buyer. If you're that's the way I feel. I feel like you got to be smart about it. Don't have Netflix and HBO Max and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime Video and Hulu. Just pick something you're gonna want and you enjoy it.
Have you been looking at my subscription list?
No, I have all those
I have
things
all
too.
of those.
I'm a stupid fool. Actually, I'm not a stupid fool. My wife's a stupid fool.
Yeah, the girl I was talking to, she's like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't. There's not any good movies at the theaters." I said, we should just like hang out. I got way too many streaming services to pick from anyway. So
Yeah, you got way too many streaming services to waste money on the theater.
exactly.
Like I was telling my wife because she wanted to get those Disney passes again. And I'm like, look, if we get those Disney passes, if we have a weekend where we want to do something, we don't have an option anymore. We're gonna go to Disneyland because that's what we paid for.
Yeah, exactly. This is the way we used to do it when we were younger. We used to buy the SeaWorld passes or the Fiesta Texas passes when I lived in San Antonio, and it was like,
Hmm.
what are we doing this weekend? Well, obviously we're going to Fiesta Texas because we have passes.
Yeah.
Like
No, we're
somebody
not
needs
gonna
to
go
go,
watch a movie. I thought you wanted Disneyland passes. We're going to Disneyland.
all right?
I mean, for
Yeah, we
God's
gotta
sake.
make these passes pay for themselves, right?
Absolutely. So you got to be smart about what you're doing. The thing is, I like watching what I watch,
Captain Evil
and if
Stopper? Hello, Captain Evil
you're boring Captain Evil Stopper to tears. He fell asleep already. Look at it.
I know
Okay,
Captain Evil Stopper.
I guess that's all of us, because especially you guys, because you guys are the ones talking.
All right, Rick, go ahead and talk.
Force the fun on them.
I probably bore them more by talking because I probably won't talk much.
No, but I get it. I get it with that. Like we
Force
do
the
spend
fun
too
on
much
them,
money.
says Captain Evil's doctor. And you say
Well,
what's
yeah,
up
I
to
mean,
him? Go ahead.
you made him okay, or you made, yeah, you're like, hey, I want to buy that. I want to buy that. I'm like, yeah, well, you're gonna have to use it, man. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like my wife wants to get this thing. We have this place called Mountain Lakes. It's one of those timeshare resorts, right? And it's one of those things where you go and you pay like an initial upfront uh, purchase price, which I believe is 5,000, and then every quarter you pay like 130. And she was
Yeah,
like, "I really want to get this." And I don't want anything to do with any kind of timeshares, but because it's one of those RV resorts, it makes a little bit of sense. But I'm like, okay, I'll tell you what though, you really got to think about it because I'm not willing to invest that money unless when you're bored, that's where we're going. If that's going to be our new hangout, that's going to be our place, then sure. But if it's just an option you want to have open, I'm 100% not down for that.
Yeah, because you probably spend a lot less just doing it for a weekend.
Yeah, because if we're going to do it twice a year, that's not worth it. You know what I mean? It's not at all worth it.
yeah, it's like
But if
people who buy
yeah,
the fishing license for the year, but go fishing once a year.
yeah, like I have my fishing license, but I've been fishing, dozens of times. You know, so it's like I justify the expense of my fishing license because I use the hell out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't renew
well,
mine because I don't, I'm not supposed to be driving, and a lot of my friends aren't into fishing. And if they were, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna renew my pass so we can go fishing.
Hmm.
how much are fishing licenses there, anyways?
In Texas, there's $60 for the full Monty. You get the saltwater pass and the freshwater stuff.
Check. I just had the regular freshwater pass. It is. Let me check the price on it real quick.
I
Is it
don't know.
even legal to fish in the saltwater area in California?
No, in California you don't need a license to fish in the saltwater.
No, I don't know how much it is nowadays, but back like
It's 52.66.
I don't know how much it is here now, but back like 30 years ago here in Ontario,
Joshua Hughes is challenging you to say something interesting, right?
as I was trying to say, I don't know how much it is now, but back here in Ontario 30 years ago, fishing license was $10. So $10 a year wouldn't have been too
And
bad.
cigarettes for $2. Yes, we get it, Rick. You're old.
No, the only reason I know is
Back in
because
my day, we used to tie an onion on your belt.
They
I bought it
let
for my
you
dad every year for
in Canada. They let you drone fish. They don't let you drone fish in parts of the U.S.
No, they do not. Nor do they let you fish with dynamite in the U.S.
I don't think they let you
Nor
fish.
do they allow you to buy dynamite in the U.S. anymore. What the hell is that all about?
I want some dynamite. I think we should get dynamite
Dynamite!
in Texas. You racist Canuck! How dare you culturally appropriate that?
What?
So I tied an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time.
J.J. Walker.
Now the ferry cost a nickel, and in those days nickels had pictures of bumblebees on them. Give me 5 bees for a quarter, you'd say. Now where were we? Oh yeah, the important thing was I had an onion on my belt, which was a style at the time. We didn't have white onions because of the war. The only thing you could get were those big yellow ones.
Where did you get
Do
that
you remember this
reference?
quote? It's
No.
one of it's one of Abraham Simpson's, your Grandpa Simpson's quotes
Uh,
from the. Oh my
yeah.
God! It was the most hilarious. I think he was essentially telling them, "This is what we do, right? We just bore people to death with stories of the old days, and they leave us alone." And then the guy's like, "Hey, I'm talking to you," and Grandpa turns around. He's like, "Yeah, we can't buzz heads like we used to, but we have our ways. One trick is to tell them stories that don't go anywhere. Like the time I caught the ferry over to Shelbyville, I needed a new heel from a shoe, so I decided to go to Morganville, which is what they called Shelbyville back in those days. So I tied an onion to my belt, which was a style at the time." And just keeps going on and on nothing. Oh, it was great. He is the most underrated character on that damn show. I swear to God.
He's the character that was asked by Lisa, "Why are there only 49 stars on your flag?" He goes, "Because I'll be dead, cold, and buried in the ground before I recognize Missouri." You can't make jokes like that no more, man. Why? They're funny.
That's
Oh,
why
I
you
love
can't make
Grandpa
funny
Simpson.
jokes. Funny jokes are racist
But what is funny about
against the
Miller's statement
non-Canadians.
is that he called Rick Grandpa Simpson. Rick is the Grandpa Simpson of the Raven crew, or what?
He says, back in those days, rich men would ride around in zeppelins, dropping coins on people. And one day I seen J.D. Rockefeller flying by, so I ran out of the house with a big wash tub. And anyway, about my wash tub, I just used it that morning to wash my turkey, which in those days was known as a walking bird. We'd always have walking bird on Thanksgiving with all the trimmings, cranberries, Injun eyes, yams stuffed with gunpowder, and then we'd watch the football, which in those days was called baseball. Oh shit!
So did you get the
No,
Disney
but
passes?
no,
You convinced
absolutely
her not
not.
to.
Mm-hmm. No, because the best. Uh, Jesus, what was it called? Yeah, it was the best Grandpa Simpson. It summed up Grandpa Simpson like completely. It was one of those ones where it was like Three Tales from Springfield. It was like that Pulp Fiction spoof episode they did,
I think I remember that.
and they were talking about it was like a small little skit with Dr. Nick Riviera, who is that hack doctor,
Mm-hmm.
Mexican one that always shows up and says, "Hi, everybody." Um, he's like they're doing a little skit like almost like an ER episode with Dr. Nick Riviera, and he had Grandpa Simpson in one of his rooms, and he's like, "Help! I got ants in my pants. I'm discombobulated." And the Dr. Nick Riviera comes and he says, "Take it easy, Grandpa." He's like, "What's the problem?" And he's like, "You have a rare condition called skeletus uh, extremities, is where your skeleton literally tries to leap out of your body," and then the grandpa's like, "Yeah, now we're talking."
You gonna be all right there, John?
Nah, I'm having a great time, Rick.
So that would mean you are going to be all right.
Everything's gonna be all right in Christ. Oh no.
What now? What did you do now, Dillard?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the way Rick's coloring this telegram.
So
What?
how is the bugbear coming along, Dillard? Did you still
It's
coloring or
coming along. No, coloring's finished. I'm lettering. I got about 8 pages left in lettering.
Oh, that's good. So what?
Rick,
That'll be
this
what?
telegram. What, Rick?
Go ahead. This telegram.
This telegram has completely straight edges. I did that so that way you can, use the line lasso to go corner to corner, and then just start filling it in to make it actually like give it texture and make it look like a piece of paper. That's why I made it so close to the viewer.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done any shading or whatever on that panel. I just colored it in. Wait for the piece of paper and just gray for the background. I guess I could have done brown for the background.
Yellowish brown color. Oh,
Also, the boxes around the letters need to be a lighter color than everything else.
Like here, just straight around the edge of the black is what you're saying?
the boxes that
No, like you know how all the letters are encapsulated in a rectangle box.
Yeah.
Those are usually added on after, so they would be a lighter color paper than everything else.
Uh, I guess I was thinking this. Oh, you're saying the box would be added on after?
Yeah, because the message would come in on one long thin strip. They would cut that up and paste that onto the Telegram page.
Oh. Oh, I see what you're doing now. They've put it all on one page. I was thinking it was done a different. Yeah, because he's using the Telegram thing there.
hey Eagle,
They,
you're
they
back.
don't do. They don't put the words. The person types out or writes out. I'm thinking like somebody has come over like some sort of. I know they didn't have a fax or whatever, but or typed out. Somebody typed it out. Hey, Eagle. I don't know why I was thinking it wasn't pieces of paper or whatever. But yeah, well that'll
And
be
can you
easy.
zoom in on the top of that Telegram?
Yeah.
Why does that
Oh,
telegram looks like it has a grease mark under the R?
Oh, probably because let's see. I thought I got
probably on
every.
account of all the grease.
Probably because I thought I got everything and I didn't. Is that better, sketch?
Oh no, no, I'm talking about like that little shading. Yeah, right there. From far, it looked like he had touched it with a greasy hand.
But yeah, I haven't done all the shading in that on this page. I was just today I started getting in close, getting everything the line stuff done, so it looked a little better that way. I still gotta do those. I did
Dude,
that
I'm
right off on the
sick.
did that right
You're
off on that
sick.
one page because there was two things.
You're sick, or you sick of something, John?
No, I'm sick. I didn't want to admit it, but I can't not admit it anymore. I have a sore throat.
Oh,
It's a fact. It's official. I have a sore throat.
not good.
I may need to go buy some honey lozenges.
Some throat lozenges.
I don't know how it's pronounced. I say lozenges.
No, it's lozenges. Better, right? Don't follow the Canucks way of saying things.
I've heard it pronounced that way too. I'm not so much of an egomaniac where I'm gonna say I know exactly how it's pronounced. The important thing to remember is that I had an onion on my belt,
All right, Grandpa.
which was the style at the time.
Well, so tomorrow.
Now I seen this.
Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
Are you wrapping up the show? Because I was going to bring up a whole new subject.
I guess you can bring up the whole new subject.
Okay, well, anyway, I was watching one of these YouTubers, and they were talking about a gay Captain America. And it was like a hobo, railroad hopping Captain America, little twink boy, sissy looking boy. But he had like overalls and a handkerchief out his back pocket, and he had that look about him where it was, the real romantic riding the rails. I don't know why that's romantic, but it is. The idea of not having anything to do and just sitting in a boxcar and riding across the United States on the railroad, getting beat up by the conductors and stuff. Very romantic.
You're boring eagle.
Well. But I thought that it was a very, very good design. And I'm very interested in reading that book.
You're very interested
Because you
in.
can't design something. I'm sorry?
You're very interested in reading the gay Captain America.
Yes.
You should
Because I
review it.
saw him. I saw the image, and I'm like, you can't make an image this great that evokes this much romance and nostalgia without actually having some talent, and that talent accidentally bleeding over into the book.
Okay, share this image. You got color me intrigued. Look this image up. Share it. So we can see it.
And I see this picture of this hobo, a hobo Captain America, and I just imagine him with like a chicken tied to his belt. You know what I mean? Let me go find this image. I gotta find it. Let me see.
Ego is over here saying, "Hear no evil, say no evil, and speak no evil," or something like that. Oh, it's hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some water. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well,
I think
good.
Captain Evil Stomper's about to vomit too.
And they threw the image together, and it looks not unlike the color choices and stuff of like an old Norman Rockwell painting. They did it on purpose. The romance, Rick.
Okay. So, do you have this picture?
I'm pulling it up. God damn! You know how fast I am and how slow you are. Why you keep giving me shit?
Something to do.
Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to share. If you're ready to receive me,
I am ready to receive you.
you gay.
I'm not sure if that sounds good or not. And everybody out there should be able to see it too.
Well, there it is. I'm sharing it.
And
What do you think? First impressions, Rick. What do you think?
I wouldn't say you necessarily say he's gay
I remember
from.
that one. No, yeah, he is gay. If I remember that article,
Yeah, I'm just saying, looking at it, you wouldn't know one way or another.
really.
But he looks
Okay.
happy, yeah. But the only thing that might lend itself to the gay look is the scarf around the neck, I would say.
Nah, that's what all hobos wore. That was the style at the time.
The what do they call it? The ascot. Um, it's the dancing pose, Rick, because that's not a combat pose. That's one of those little like ballerina dancing poses.
That's a pirouette. I think
Well,
it's
Pirouette.
called a neckerchief.
well, the thing is, he does have his one hand in a fist. If you put the other hand in a fist easily, it could be he's bringing the other hand back to hit you in the face.
What?
No, you
What
don't need
comics are you
when you
reading?
when you fight somebody, Rick. You normally have one hand open and one hand in a fist. People don't normally like
Okay.
pugilize like they're professional boxers. When
Okay,
people
well
fight, they
then,
usually just throw in haymakers and they're trying to grab the person's shirt with their other hand.
okay, well then then with the the one fist open, the one hand open, the other hand with the shield to the fist, he could easily have that back to bring
Ah,
it down on somebody.
Evil Stopper says, kind of small and ugly to me, like a poor man's Casey Jones.
Yeah. But it evokes that romance. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is great. I love it. I do think he has a bull ring in his nose, though. Look at that.
Wait, if this evokes romance to you, I think
Yes,
you might
homosexual
have something.
undertones. Yes. God, this is the whole goddamn joke, and this is why I can't hang out with you guys because you guys don't get jokes. Like, oh, look, I was on with this guy, right? This super goober by the name of Timothy Olsen, and somebody made a joke, and it was a very clever joke about this guy's gonna come in and he's gonna catch you sitting on his chair, and he's gonna be angry, and then Timothy comes in because that was the end of the joke, right? And then Timothy comes in and he says, "Yeah," and then the guy says, "Get out of my chair." Like, you're not adding to the joke. You just took away what was funny about it by just stating outright what it was.
Captain Evil Stopper says it evokes rashes and garbage stink. Hey, you know what he does look like? Have you ever seen the show? How's it called? Letterkenny, that Canadian show. He looks like one of the skids, the meth heads.
No, I don't watch Canadian programming.
Actually, a funny show.
Before you ask, I don't watch Degrassi either.
Ugh, Degrassi. Well, then again, after you said that this is romantic to you, I should ask you if you watch Degrassi. What other fetishes do you have? Don't answer that.
I'm a sucker for romance. I always wanted to tie a chicken to my belt and ride the rails.
Eagle says you need puns in your jokes, Dillard. Where is Tim Olson? Where's Timothy at?
He was
The
here
Timothy.
earlier.
The Timothy.
I guess so.
He was here near the beginning of the.
Where would you head if you were
Now I did look
you
it
had
up.
a chicken tied to your belt?
Hey, I would head wherever the rails take me.
What if they take you to Hamilton,
That's-
Ontario?
Then I'll get off at Hamilton, Ontario, and walk into that small town with my chicken on my belt. And I'll ask anybody if they got any spare change for a fellow American citizen who's down on his luck.
And with that statement, he'd be chased out of town. No.
It would say, "In American, please don't strike me in the face." Yeah, but I liked it. I saw it and I liked it, and I liked that it looks like a Norman Rockwell, inspired drawing. I liked it a lot. But then I went and I actually looked at the actual comic. It looks terrible. The drawings, they don't look like this. It's just not good.
Oh,
Of
it's a chaos
course.
comic trick. They did a chaos comic trick to it.
Yeah.
Well,
For
what do
for
you.
those who don't understand, Rick might remember this. Chaos Comics in the '90s used to have some of the most gorgeous looking covers, but you open the interior and it was like, good lord, what? Who did you hire to do interiors? Like
Covers
you got
always.
doing it.
Most covers always look better than the interior art.
Yes, but there's a difference between look better and then you literally you let the intern do the interiors.
No, because the thing was that was the only image you had to go on was the cover there. When they were talking about this, that's all they were showing was the cover, the cover, the cover. They didn't show any of the actual interior art, so it was a little bit of a letdown.
Captain Evil Stopper said that as they ran you out of town, they would say, "Sorry, sorry, we have to run you out of town, eh?"
Yay.
So no Bumblebee nickels for you there, traveling person with a onion on his belt and a chicken tied to it.
Give me 5 Bs for a quarter, they say.
He goes, "Sorry,
But
sorry,
yeah,
buddy, the town full, eh?"
but here I'll show you some of the what the interior of this book actually looks like. Let me grab it real quick. I'll put it over this image. There we go. So not exactly, you know.
It's it's not as romantic. It's not doing it for you. What the gourd is that? The hell happened to
Yeah,
Cat?
it's
Put on a
just
few
not the
pounds.
same.
Looks like Cat put on a few pounds.
And got a sunburn too.
Oh, this is where this is when they're doing all the different Captain Americas.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is supposed to be Steve Rogers as a kid.
No, did they hire an Antifa guy to do a stand-in for this kid's model? Because look, he's speaking to Fidel Castro right there. Oh, so that's supposed to
But
be.
I like the look of that. Go ahead.
Isn't that supposed to be the black Captain America?
Yeah,
That's why
Falcon
he
as
has a
Yeah,
suit.
Falcon as
this is
Captain America.
Falcon, yeah. Well, you know, I would have preferred it if they would have, instead of making him, you know, all weird and gay, I would have preferred if they made him kind of like a little rascal, right? Like a homeless tramp that would run around town stealing apples and stuff like that. Like a true hobo, king of the
Anthony
north.
Montgomery says so. Just gender neutral in the face only, huh? And Ego said your chicken belt was lost in Canada. It was the style back then.
This was the style of the time. Don't blame me for what was in style at the time. I'm a stylish fellow. I go with all the trends, Rick.
You like to be trendy?
Yeah, I wear the really high pants nowadays. That's in style these days for the broads. They like wearing pants that are very high. Back in my day, it was all about low rise pants and low rise jeans, and then wearing your thong above your hip. But now the girls they wear pants that go all the way up to under their boobs.
Oh yeah, I know.
This
I
is
had a
just the style
discussion
nowadays.
with a niece where I was like, "Oh my gosh," she's like, and even a coworker, he's like, "You like low rise jeans on women?" I'm like, "Yes." You guys like the mom jeans. I didn't like those in the '80s when they were supposed to be cool. I go, unfortunately, I've actually lived through two generations where women have had to wear those horrible things.
Doesn't
Women
that
in
make
red.
you feel old now that you see now that currently you're seeing the return again of bell bottoms?
A third return.
A
Because remember, they
third
were
return.
yeah,
They were popular in the '90s again, and now they're back
exactly,
again.
dude. I
Oh
saw some of
Lord!
my pictures with my ex-wife. She was wearing some. I'm like, oh my gosh, God, we're old.
Thank God I got rid of that.
Yeah, but if they became popular in the 90s among women, especially moms, wouldn't that just be the teenagers that wore them in the 60s or 70s trying to bring them back?
No,
No, they
moms
weren't
didn't wear them.
popular. Who said they were popular among moms?
No, we called them. I was talking about mom jeans, as in the '80s. The jeans that are like above the navel for women. That's mom jeans.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
They call them mom jeans because they were very loose fitting. You
No,
commonly see them on moms. And they were never popular with like teenagers.
Yeah, Captain Evil
Also,
Stopper.
you can bend over and pick up kids without showing your butt crack.
Yeah, Captain Evil Stopper says, "Don't worry, the time it comes back alive is shorter and shorter every time," which is true because fads and trends just go so quick now. You can thank social media for that crap. Here, here today, gone tomorrow. I'm waiting for Jinkos to come back just to laugh. Like we didn't look good in them back then. I know you ain't gonna look good in them now.
So I'm sorry for bringing up this new topic, Rick. You can go ahead and end your show anytime you feel like.
I know I can. I
Yeah,
just
Rick, I'm giving you permission to end your show.
he's gonna tell you what time it is in Canada, and then he's gonna have you leave.
Oh God. I have my finger hovering over the disconnect button, so if he even utters the phrase, "Well, it's," I'm gonna be out of here before he can do it.
Dude, that sounds like we. There was a bar we used to go to, and we hated it, dude. At the end of every night, these guys would turn on the lights and scream into the microphone for the PA. Be like, "Time to close," and like, dude, you're killing my buzz. I came in here to have a few drinks in a mellow atmosphere, not for you to just like kick me out screaming. I'm like, I know what time it is. I know
Sketch, you
that
drunken skunk! What the hell are you doing hanging out till closing time at a bar?
it was the thing to do.
What a degenerate. The only people that hang around the bar at closing time are the really desperate men and the very ugly women.
I'll let you
and he was
guess.
both.
Rick's got jokes. You get a like for that, sir.
It had to have been said by somebody, right? Why not me?
Oh, I think he finally left, or did somebody join? Nope, Dillard left.
Okay, well, I was gonna say, tomorrow Rumble, it's gonna be early
No, they're
there.
not Eagle. They weren't cool when they were out. Fidget spinners are still cool.
Uh, it's probably gonna be too early if I make it that time for you, but I gotta leave at 1:30 where I am. Is 8:30 in the morning too early for you?
What you want to do it at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow?
Well, it would be 8:30. Well, you know you're in Texas.
Yeah, it would be like 7:30 in the morning to me.
No, I was gonna. No, I was thinking like 11 or noon or 11. That way I can get 2 hours in my time. So that would be 10 your time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I'll have to let.
I'll be waking up then.
Yeah. So yeah, 11 o'clock tomorrow on 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow on Rumble on Cross Comics, we'll have our draw along. We should get in about 2 hours. So if anybody wants to watch. I know Eagle was saying he doesn't want to do the double thing to chat, but you know you can come watch. Um,
Oh, where he has to sign into
yeah,
chat.
yeah, do the double verification and all that.
Eagle, just do it. We like having your comments in the chat.
Yeah, we want to build up that channel. I'm at 74 subscribers over there. Last time I checked. Let me check. And let me put the link to that in the chat.
Rumble's a better platform anyway, Eagle, because you could pretty much say whatever you want to say, but it gives you more freedom that way.
Yeah. Okay, so let's put the link in the chat for Rumble for anybody who wants to go over and subscribe and all that stuff.
Dang, Eagle, you're 2 minutes behind when you're watching the streams.
And
Are you watching it on your phone or are you watching it on a PC?
he says Odyssey is weird. I guess he was over there last night.
No,
Nobody.
Odyssey is weird, but with Odyssey, the good thing about Odyssey is that you get paid. What happened to you, Dillard? You just dropped off, or
Well, I heard Rick on, so I took off prematurely. But I did have another question for you guys.
Yeah.
I am going to be endeavoring to bring back the Cult of Raven comics animation.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Those are funny.
But it's going to be in a brand new location. The Cult of Raven comics is now going to be coming from inside the Buckler's Bait and Tackle
Okay.
basement.
Can you burn down the comic book building in one of the episodes?
Yes.
Okay, so
It'll just be a little it'll be a little like a cutaway scene. But I want to know, what should I do for the background to make it interesting for the new, because I'm making all new assets and all that.
Uh, find some stuff that we've talked about on the streams, put it in the back, even though it has nothing to do with bait and tackle. I think that would be funny.
Okay,
Well, it wouldn't have anything really to do with Bait and Tackle. It's going to be like the basement of the Bait and Tackle shop.
Okay.
well, you could have storage of the bait and tackle stuff down there too. You know.
Yes, but I don't want storage stuff. I want interesting stuff. Have you seen anything? Like, you remember
Like,
Space
what's the
Ghost
next
Coast to Coast? So
video?
they have like a desk set up with other things. I wanted ideas for like setups for what could be on the screen that looks interesting while the people are having interactions down there.
This is the Buckler's
Are you gonna make it
hideout.
So you're not
Right?
gonna make the animation the way you did before. Are you gonna make them based on like on a podcast that you're gonna have?
No, it's going to be the same way as before, just new animations, better animations, smoother animations.
Have that chair, dude. That chair should be down there from the book. You could have your character sitting in there with a glass of whiskey, even though you don't drink whiskey. Make it, what is it? What were you drinking on Christmas? The eggnog.
Eggnog and rum.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Well, isn't the basement to the bait and tackle supposed to be the Buckler's hideout?
Yes.
You could just do stuff that would be in the Buckler's hideout, make it look like his hideout.
No, okay. Maybe I got the question wrong.
No, he wants interesting things, sort of like.
No. I want an interesting and dynamic setup. Like, if you recall the Cult of Raven comics, original ones, there was a table with a long box of comics in front of everybody.
Yeah.
That gave it a little bit of dynamism. People could kind of walk behind it, hide behind it. You wouldn't have to see legs. I want to know what should be a good setup, like in dimensions wise, for interactions.
You could switch it up. You could do like one episode could be a foosball table, another episode could be like the war planning tables.
Well, yeah.
That. Yeah, you could do things like that.
So I want something. I want background. The characters are going to be mid-ground, and there has to be something or some things in foreground.
Foreground, yeah.
Like, can you think of anything you've seen, images where like that was really interesting? I'd like to explore something like that. Or I'm thinking maybe even do it like Goodfellas style, like where you got like a just a big poker table where everybody's sitting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. And like every episode, you could switch it. Like one episode they're playing poker, one episode they you bring back the long box. How did that wind up there? And then one episode you play like a tabletop game or
A stuffed raven, since it's the cult of raven thing, you know.
Hmm.
Or
So you haven't seen anything like setup wise that you would be like, oh, go look at this. This is interesting.
uh, you could put one of
no.
those mechanical face that talk on the back. Wall or something like that. I know it's waiting time for what. It could talk. I don't know.
Like I said, I'm not looking for objects to stuff the room with. I can do that myself. I'm thinking of like, have you seen any dynamic setups that looked
He's talking about
interesting?
a foreground piece that
Yeah.
people would be like, "Hey, that looks kind of cool."
Should I just put two chairs across from each other like Jimmy Glick doing interviews, like that kind of deal?
You could do that too,
Yeah.
Like, what would be interesting to look at?
or you could do the Tonight Show setup where you're behind a desk and everybody else is sitting on a couch.
Yeah, I kind of did that for one. I didn't like it.
Mm.
I did that for one of the Buckler Speaks episodes.
Fine, I need to go back and watch that.
Actually, he did a couple of those for the thing. I'm just trying to think what would be a good thing to have in, the Buckler's hideout that these guys are in.
Captain Evil Stopper wants to know how is the shot framed.
I mean, that's up for debate. I mean, I'm up for anything interesting, even the way the shot is framed. Would you like me to share one of the old Cult of
Yeah,
Raven comics to show how that's set up? Okay, let me see.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen it, but yeah, share Captain
Well,
Evil Stopper hasn't seen it.
for okay, let me go look it up here. Shouldn't take too long. Ooh, I went up a couple subscribers.
Did you not? That's good.
Yeah, I'm at 672.
Maybe you'll get more suckers to back your book. I mean, customers to back your book.
672, yeah, you're pretty close to me. I'm 680.
Rick, why can't you just be happy for him? Why do you have to
Damn.
compare him to you?
I don't know.
Hey, I'm saying he's getting
That's
up there.
that's just how Rick is.
I'm saying he's getting up there. That's good. He's almost surpassed me.
No, Captain Evil Stopper, he wants to know exactly like what imagery we could put in the foreground.
Oh
We
wait,
know
do I
how
have
the
to share
shot is.
audio?
I
Is
don't
it
think-
possible to share audio on here?
Yeah, I think you can.
I think you almost
Okay, so
automatically.
this should be sharing audio now. Let me know if when you're sharing it.
I am.
Well, you know these aren't very long. Should I just play the whole thing?
And you've got it muted. That's why you might not hear audio.
Well, it's not playing either. But
Yeah.
you want me to play the whole thing?
It's up to you.
So this is how it's set up. It's set up originally as like an establishing shot of the outside of the
Sorry, yeah.
street corner.
That
Okay, so
stupid
here we go.
rooster.
It's a great rooster. What are you talking about?
Damn. Metal?
I got a 20.
Metal can't even afford shoes.
That's really? You can't afford shoes?
I was watching his
I
video.
just like walking around barefoot.
No,
Unmute the thing.
You want me to turn my webcam on and show you my
he's-
shoes?
I hear it.
no.
We don't
I
want
can't
to
hear it.
Yeah, I don't need to see my shoes.
I saw a video of him walking in the street with no shoes.
Is that the one
Yeah.
with the Colt 45s? Yeah, Colt 45 malt liquor he was holding.
Yeah. And there was some
there
poor
it
black
goes.
girl he was walking really close to. She was super nervous. You could tell.
I didn't want to.
Yeah, I remember that too. I passed her several times. She's always nervous, like when anybody passes her.
Right. Anybody.
Because of who you are.
Damn. Is this a ploy so that you can siphon money from people so you can buy shoes?
No, I have shoes.
I don't believe you, Metal.
I actually have more than one pair of shoes.
What are you, Lorenzo de Medici?
I just really like walking barefoot.
I agree. I actually walk barefoot a lot too. John knows that.
You put a picture out like in public of you working outside on stuff with no shoes on.
Yeah, I made my kids walk around, take a walk around the block one summer with no shoes on too.
Is it because they did something bad and you were punishing them?
I said it's summer. Let's go take a walk.
But the sidewalks get really hot in the summer.
That's because real men have tough feet, John.
You have to be able to, heal those layers of defensive skin off of your.
So you walk, and then when your feet blister up, you peel the layers of skin off, and then you have man feet?
Yeah.
Gorilla feet.
Men should not have anything soft and silky. It should all be rough cut, just blisters and cuts and wrinkles. There should be nothing pretty. Like John's pretty.
I'm pretty pretty.
Yeah, I know you.
Maybe he's just worried that, you lost part of your finger and that you might lose part of a toe too.
Nah, that'd be okay.
Well, I mean, that's what you said before you lost your fingers, so.
I was wearing shoes that day. So maybe I equate shoes with losing your finger. I don't know. I guess.
If you like this content and you want to see more of it, like, share. And
Yeah, my kid keeps asking, when are you gonna do another one of those animations?
I like them a lot, but God, they just don't get any views, man.
Yeah, you have to. It caters to a different audience. People who watch the animations. You would have to
So
interject yourself into that community, and then bring them over. Which, by the way, once you do bring them over, that's a lot of them.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start trying to do those again. Focus more on that kind of stuff.
And this is after around what time after? Because I know you have a full plate right now. You got all these people.
Oh yeah.
Getting art from you and stuff like that.
This is probably in about 2 months. I'm going to be focusing on this stuff. Well, not focusing on it, but the content for my channel will be mainly that.
How about Scribetto? Are you ever gonna bring that back?
Not until I can get a continuous and substantial live viewing base. I'm talking like if I can, typically pull in at least 25 viewers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
25 people live, then we can have a good game. Because other than that, it gets to be a little tedious and boring.
And it's the same people winning all the time?
Yeah. I mean, I got to be a little pragmatic about this stuff.
Captain Evil Stopper says he is getting up there, says the old man.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what might be good for foreground for a basement. Could have a
Scott Schmear is live right now.
Who's Scott Schmear?
Oh, I think I remember. The guy that used to come in on here, right? John?
Uh-huh. Used to be a regular around these parts. Yeah, he used to be a regular around these parts, and then he went crazy. Right now, he's doing a live stream talking about being gang stalked.
Oh, that is. Rick, did you make this guy crazy?
No.
John, did Rick do this?
It's a possibility. I'm not saying he did or didn't.
I would have waited.
But it could be the tremendous exposure that he got being on Rick's channel probably played a hand in that.
I went away to Brazil, and shortly after I came back, you went crazy.
Uh, Captain Evil Stopper asks, are they just hanging in the basement, Dillard?
Yeah, I mean, well, they can be just hanging in the basement. They could all be sitting at a poker table in the basement. It could be a billiard table. They could be in the basement at one of those built-in basement bars. They could be on watching a TV in the whatever. It's just, the only constraints is that they're in a basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, TV, I'd suggest, either a TV that you can flash to something that's on there, or do that 70s show thing where you have the chairs and you swing around to the one person. Is that?
Captain Evil Stopper says that Rick helped. Rick helped bring this insanity to full bore. So, I'm actually kind of intrigued. How did he lose it, John? In what way did he lose his marbles?
I don't know.
The
Well,
best.
look, he lives in my area. I went to go visit him,
Hmm.
and he seemed to be, just one of those guys where he's down on his luck, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't seem to be like out and out crazy. Then he got it into his head that people were, because of his. He's a little bit of a weird guy, so people would make fun of him while he was on Rick's show.
As
Right?
everybody gets made fun of on Rick's show.
Right. So he started to think that the people that would, because then he had his own channel as well where he would do drawing and stuff. And there would be some crossover from some people that watched Rick's show would go and watch him when he was drawing and stuff like that. He was under the impression that people were screen capping, stealing his artwork, and selling it for millions. Now, that already is a major disconnect from reality. So I don't believe that Rick's show had anything to do with this mental break. It just gave an excuse. You know what I mean? For it to be something else.
Yeah.
He was claiming that he had neighbors that were hacking into radio waves and trying to influence his dreams.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
Somebody took his
that sort of
tinfoil
thing.
hat from him is what it was. Somebody forgot to put
Yes.
his tinfoil hat
Yeah.
back on him.
Well, he lives like in an RV type thing with his wife, right, John?
Yes.
Captain Evil Stopper says a nasty old tube TV with the antenna all messed up, sitting on an egg crate. I laugh my ass off. Millions. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. Yeah, like millions. Like if Rick had the influence where somebody could sell your art for millions, I don't think any of us would have been on this channel anymore. Rick would have been like, "You plebs are beneath me."
As much as I'd like to think that Rick is a good Christian man and he wouldn't forget his friends, I absolutely believe he would forget his friends.
He'd start to turn into the televangelist. It's like, because you didn't sow your seed into the channel of Cross Comics, you're not getting an abundance.
I'm just saying, I don't think that it was Rick's show, but I do believe that it was YouTube that did it to him.
Captain Evil Stopper says, nice. Gwahaha. He skipped some med days, perhaps.
Possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, if you listen
But he did seem to have the kind of...
Go ahead, John.
Yeah. No, he did seem to have, like, I guess you would call it delusions of grandeur.
What about this other
just
guy
general mental health issues.
What about this other guy that I always hear you guys mention? I think his name's Brendan or Brandon.
Yeah.
Let's go, Brandon.
Not that Brandon, but yes, I love that saying too. I need a shirt with that.
I ordered a keychain from Mallet CNC Works, a Let's Go Brandon keychain.
Oh, Mallet's making those? I definitely want one.
Yep.
Okay, I don't even know who this Brandon guy is for Let's Go Brandon.
Okay. Since
Explain
can
it
I?
to this guy. What are
Okay.
you doing,
Since
Rick?
Biden has been in office, a lot of the sporting events have been shouting a chant saying "F Joe Biden." During an interview on Fox Sports with a NASCAR driver who had just won the race, his name is Brandon. They were doing this in the background again, and the reporter, wanting to cover up for it, says, "Oh, look, they're cheering for you. They're saying, 'Let's go, Brandon.'" So now everybody has turned that into a meme that means F Joe Biden, but
Oh,
everybody's just saying, "Let's go, Brandon." And now they're making merch out of it, and it's hilarious. It's an American meme now, and I really want a shirt, and now I want that keychain from Mallet. And
okay.
like an American flag that Matt can make that says "Let's go, Brandon" on it.
But as for this other Brandon, the one that was on my channel, he was on near the beginning. He came on every so often. He's a Christian.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, he believed a lot of the screwball people that are on YouTube saying stuff about different things for
Like what?
Christianity or whatever.
Like Q or what?
No, okay, say the Incredibles 2. He was watching a video by some other guy that claims to be a Christian. Very downplaying the Incredibles 2, saying it's so anti-Christian or something. I forget exactly how it was worded. You know,
Mm.
where it
He was
was
one of
just
those crazy Christians that like sells all his comic books.
yeah.
I didn't sell mine. I burnt them.
But no, the guy, some of the people that he was listening to were and he was really naive. He was like 20 something, and and he did not have a lot of knowledge. In fact, one of the craziest things is he didn't even realize Hawaii was part of the U.S.
Mm. Yeah,
It,
a lot of Dems don't know that either.
it's hard to describe.
Okay, Captain Evil Stopper says that "Let's go, Brandon" or the original chant started in college games, which is true. Which is why it was so funny because most colleges are filled with liberals. But the fact that they would be chanting "F Joe Biden." Uh, he also says sketchbook getting real close to a no button. What did I say now? Did I get close to a no button, Rick?
Oh, probably one of the things you can't talk about on YouTube. I'm not sure what all they
Ah,
are.
yeah. The Let's Go Brandon thing. Well, no, I understand if he sold all his comic books and stuff like that. Eventually, that's where all believers are headed. Eventually, you're gonna get rid of all your earthly possessions. You don't get to take anything with you. So,
Yeah,
and sometimes that's just the walk that you have. But
but
not
yeah,
knowing that Hawaii is part of the U.S., I have an issue with that. Like the educational system didn't just fail you; it told you to, you know,
yeah, but he got rid of it because he's being told Marvel and DC are just complete devil worship and all that, or all these Marvel movies is about devil worship and all that, or Marvel comics and DC comics.
you only you I want to hear about is in comics. Oh, the only Q he wants to hear about is in comics.
What about
Which
Q
I don't
from
know.
What about Q from Star Trek: The Next Generation or Star Trek,
I don't want to hear
uh,
about that guy either, or his perm.
Ern,
Q from James Bond?
Those are both acceptable cues, and I don't know what cue from comics he's talking about. But I will be chastised for not knowing it later.
Maybe the question.
Oh yeah, maybe the question. No, but he would have said the question.
We'll find out this
You'd
week.
like to think that, wouldn't you?
Simmer down there, sailor.
Huh?
Um. Oh, because you screamed right in my ear.
Yeah,
Honey,
yeah, yeah. That's how this
don't yell at
works.
me. I'm sensitive, Dillard. I thought you knew this.
Gotta keep telling these guys. It's like, if you want to be treated like an adult, stop acting like a kid.
I don't think anybody here wants to be treated like an adult by them standards. So he was saying the question. Point for Dillard.
Yeah, look at me. I'm a comic book buff.
The fact that you knew who the question is astounding to me. Because like the quickest way to get you to be quiet on your end is if we start talking about comics.
Yep.
Therein lies a question.
That was a statement, Rick. So, any
Right
other
now.
plans for anything else, Dillard? Other than the animations, which I'm actually happy to hear you say that you're gonna do that. I'll tell my kid he's gonna be pretty happy. He's like, "Oh, I'll look out for him." He really enjoyed those.
Yeah, I'll probably do something short just to test it out after I, like finish some assets for it. Probably not all the assets there's going to be, but when I get the base for it, like I'm actually just doodling it right now. Let me show you. Because I want it to kind of look like I want there to be room in the background for people to actually walk into the room and interrupt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Like when
I
people
don't want
just
to
jump
focus
on stream.
everything. Yes. Let's see here. Share my screen. Okay, so I found this image of these three people at a table,
Okay.
kind of like this. Except I want to make the table a little bit bigger. Everything on the table is going to be different assets. If there's going to be Coke cans or cup of coffee or bottle of gin, whatever, they're all going to be movable in case one of the characters wants to pick one up and throw it across the room. But I'm going to have over here on the right, where the guy in the suit, the white suit, that's going to be me in the buckler chair. And then two empty chairs, which I'll be able to fill in with anybody that happens to be on stream at the time.
Wouldn't it be better if you're in the center?
I don't know.
Especially with the buckler chair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't. I don't know what would be best. I will take that into consideration. But if you're to look at this, right, and say you're watching it, this size, is that too small? Should it be bigger?
Uh, if it's only three people,
For
that's not.
instance, if I were to make it bigger, like, should it be like this?
Yeah, if you're only gonna have three characters on there, then yeah, that's a perfect size.
Yeah, well,
That one right there. But
the great thing is if it's animate with the animation, if you have all the assets, you can maybe group them like that. And if you're going to bring somebody a fourth person in the background, you could probably shrink it, make it look like a zoom out shot.
oh yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that simply because when I create other assets, I don't want to have to resize them into the animation program.
What are you going to be using to animate this Clip Studio?
No, Olive. It's just going to be moving entire figures. It's not going to be, I'm not going to do traditional animation on this thing at all.
More like flash animation.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll make it bigger. Maybe that's what it will be.
Well,
Right there.
I was gonna say, I think I'm gonna go grab something to eat. So I think I'm going to end the show for now. Guys, anything you'd like to promote, John?
Yes, my YouTube channel. It's called Dillard Draws. Head on over there and subscribe, and make sure to ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any fantastic Dillard Draws content.
Cool. Anything you would like to promote, Sketchbook?
Yes, tomorrow we have the draw along stream on Rumble. Please fill out your Rumble stuff and come and chat with us and watch us. Also, in about a month's time, 2 channels coming up. Uh, keep watching Rick's channel. I'll announce them here in a few weeks. And that's it.
Captain Evil Stopper says, if you start wide, you can zoom in for effect in post. Says he's.
Oh yeah, Captain Evil Stopper is actually a graphic designer and an animator. He's actually done this stuff before, so.
Oh, I sure wish somebody would have said that. It would have been very helpful, because I've been talking about this for a good 30 minutes.
Oh, by the way, John, this is my friend Captain Evil Stopper, and he knows about animation.
A little too late there, aren't you?
Well, we'll have another stream, and I don't know, on somebody's channel, and I'll invite him.
Yeah.
You can pick his brain.
Fantastic.
Sounds
Thanks
good.
for watching, everybody. Bye.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for coming on, John and Sketchbook, and thanks for everybody watching. Like Sketchbook said, be tomorrow, Rumble, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturday draw along. It's going to be me, Sketch, and a couple other artists. We're just going to be drawing whatever we need to be drawing or whatever we want to draw. So stop by, catch up, and you can draw along, draw whatever you need to as well. So we'll catch y'all later. Bye for now. God bless. Love y'all. Have a great night.